All right.
Looks like we're live. Thank you very much for joining the Comics Aficionados. I am Wes, your benevolent host, and today we have a great panel for you. First time ever on the channel, a big friend of mine, huge supporter of the channel, and a YouTube star in his own right. Tevye Smolka, what's going on, man?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me join the show. I've been watching your videos for a long time, and I appreciate me joining at your stream.
Yeah, we're very happy to have you on. I'm glad we finally got this together. Also joining us, fellow YouTuber and huge TMNT fan, Bats. What's going on, buddy?
Hey, what's going on, everyone? Glad to be here.
Oh, is that a Power Ranger?
Yeah, this is the new Hasbro Lightning series.
Nice.
I got stuck on putting a figure in front of the camera with me, like the first time I came on. So now I feel obligated to come up with a new figure every time.
Yeah, you can't do a face reveal and then not bring a toy along with you anymore.
Yeah, you can.
All right. So also joining us, we got Lance. He's been out for a couple weeks. What's going on, buddy?
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having me.
We're all doing pretty good. And finally, last but not least, we have Doc. What's going on, buddy?
What up, guys? How you guys doing this morning?
I think we're all pretty good. So, Doc, what the hell are you doing here?
Yeah, I wasn't expecting to be here this morning because, I expected to be late. I thought I had, I don't want to talk too much about it because I don't know how many locals are listening, and I don't want to give up some news myself until next weekend. But no, I was going to be hitting up a decent back issue sale. And then I realized that it was, I was punching in the directions, and then I looked at it and the date was fucking wrong. Yeah. So
they're lost in our game. We're very glad to have you. And in the chat so far, we've got the Obscure Observer. Thank you for joining us. We got Eric Breen. If you didn't know this, the man has his own microphone and channel now, and you need to go subscribe.
Go subscribe to Eric Breen.
Absolutely. He's a great guy. He's a friend of the channel. Knows lots about comics. Is a comics aficionado, definitely in his own right. And now that he's got a mic, let's see if we can get him on the channel sometime, Bats. That'd be good stuff. Also, we got
required to learn how to work the computer.
He just has to hit a button. You did it.
Yeah, we all did it.
Also, we got Perry Comics in the chat as well. Thank you for joining me. If I didn't shout you out and you're in the chat, just let me know you're there, and we'll mention you on the stream. So before we get too much into the state of the industry, we're still waiting on Paley. I think he's going to make it. So there's a big movie that came out, and I know Tevye, you're scheduled to go there tomorrow. What are your thoughts on the Dark Phoenix saga?
The Dark Phoenix saga as a whole, I love that saga. It's one of my favorite saga in the X-Men franchise, and I've seen the X-Men anime series adapted in a meeting. When the X-Men were going to adapt it, they couldn't because they never got seen two. It broke my heart to get the extra meeting. Dark Phoenix saga, one of his saga, and to see adapted again, this time by Simon Kinberg, which Simon Kinberg. Who do you know who this guy is? Backstory. Simon Kinberg, the writer of Last Stand, Fan Four Stick. He also had to help write some other movies. And yeah, this guy is like 50-50 shot record. I know he wrote 10% of Day the Future App, but I had more Matthew Vaughn and Ron Singer who made that movie, which I do own. He wrote Apocalypse, the X Apocalypse, which I didn't watch that movie actually recently, before I saw Dark Phoenix. You know, you can see something today, but I saw them all. But Apocalypse, I thought it was an okay movie. It's not horrible. I've seen worse, but it's okay. But this movie, I don't know if you're right. I'm worried this could fall apart, just like Last Stand did. German review I saw it. The review of that part of it was really bad.
So, Doc, you're the big X-Men fan. Did you go see it yet?
No. In fact, I'm actually, you know what? This is probably the first X-Men movie that I'm actually just going to skip. There's nothing about this. I kept trying and trying to figure out a way to get excited for it. And for the life of me, I could not get excited.
I'm blaming you.
It looks like it's a rehash of Last Stand, which I hated.
Terrible.
It's a follow-up to Apocalypse, which was right next to Last Stand when it comes to fucking terrible X-Men movies.
Yeah.
And it's already essentially a pre-canceled franchise.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep. It's canceled.
I mean,
and Logan should be the last movie.
It kind of reminds me of like Jessica Jones that's coming out on Netflix in a couple of weeks. Why the shit do I care? The series is already canceled. We know it's
like Uncanny X-Men.
Well, Uncanny X-Men that thing can't. Oh wait, it get canceled.
Well, they're rebooting the whole X franchise.
Which I'm fine with, because X-Men really need a reboot. Let's face it. After Age of X-Men, X crap, and the time traveling X-Men, all that nonsense. Which, thank God, I have X-Men are gone. I'm glad that time traveling X-Men stuff are gone, because that's a mess in itself.
Mm-hmm. So Doc's not very excited about X-Men. What about you, Bats? Are you excited for this movie?
I wouldn't use the word excited, but
you're gonna see it, aren't you?
I feel mildly plot committed. Like I've seen every X-Men movie in theaters, and so except for like the Wolverine ones, I don't count those as X-Men.
Yeah, I love these movies.
Yeah,
but I'm probably gonna see it just to see it, and I think that this sounds so stupid, but it's like I think the girl who plays Phoenix is gorgeous. So like I'm like, oh yeah, special effects and hot. Whatever.
Yeah, so we're from Game of Thrones.
Jean Grey.
Oh God, I don't get that at all.
I don't either.
She looks like a fucking bird.
As a half British guy, I'm into birds.
Oh, okay. I mean, cool if that's your thing. I mean, but yeah, she looks like a goddamn bird. And
she's the Phoenix.
Yeah, she's a mythical creature.
Yeah, well, okay, they picked a good actress to play a bird, but they also could have just picked fucking Big Bird.
All right, so also in the chat, we got Dominic Powell. Thank you very much for joining us. He's a great follow on Twitter, good guy. As well as, I'm going to butcher it, it's Dave Asanowitz. He's got his own YouTube channel as well, good guy. And thank you very much for joining.
Ash told me that Dave said his name is Dave Ass Sandwich.
Ass Sandwich. All right, so we got Dave Ass Sandwich in the chat. Thank you very much for joining us.
So my thoughts on Phoenix, at least like as far as wanting to see it, there's no actors or performances I want to see in this movie. I'm sick of the versions of Magneto and the cast. I'm sick of everybody, and there's no actors on there that really like draw me in. I was looking at the cast list. I'm like, I don't really. There's no. At least like I wanted to see Kevin Bacon in the first one because I knew he was going to ham it up as a villain.
So I thought the Nightcrawler dude was good in the last movie, but that was it.
I forgot. Okay, yeah. I mean, some of them are good. I'm just like, we're 4 movies in, and it's just worn thin. I don't think this cast is just not very interesting to me anymore, or something.
Which is damn shame. I love the cat. I love the
No clap warning.
Yeah, come on, give us a clap warning, dude.
Sorry. Jim McAvoy at Professor X. Mike Papa Magneto. I love these actors. They played great at Magneto and Professor X. There's a few times I've been one of my favorite movies had Magneto at Professor X and young Magneto, and we can see meet the Punic. Well, let's see Jay Ragnar meet Patrick Stewart, and that was amazing. I love that scene. Webcomics is my favorite action movie of all time. This is a great movie.
Magneto's like motivations in these movies are terrible. Like every time he's just like he just wants to murder and cause destruction for no reason, and he never sees the real story or game that's at hand. He's always a pawn. He's just never. it just kind of like, especially Days of Future Past, his motivations in that movie are just horrible. It's just like, what is this guy thinking? He's trying to cause
Yeah.
well, they talk sense into him, and then he's like, no, how about I lift up Shea Stadium and drop it on the ground?
Well,
And
that's
it's
pretty cool.
like-
And then that epic. I mean, epic scene, but
Well, what I really liked in the last one that
Apocalypse.
his whole motivations of destroying the Earth was, hey, this weird blue Egyptian guy gave me some free clothes.
Well, and but he lost his family. Family got killed off by these cops.
But he just kind of shows up and he's like, here's some fancy Egyptian mutant clothes. And he's like, oh, yeah, I'll join your crazy murdering cult. Yeah, I'm down. Let's do this.
But
Party.
that horrible subplot where he's living in Romania with his new family that like just made no sense. It's like
Pretty cute, but then they die.
So, Doc, what are you showing us here, buddy?
Oh, nothing. I was just putting something up and says everybody's staring at me. rather my avatar. I figure I'd do something a little different this time.
Okay,
So just showing old books.
Nice. So, Lance, Dave S. Sandwich said that's a sweet flag poster you got. You got a story about that poster?
I do actually. It's actually autographed, one of 2000. It says, and I got it for. I was buying all the American flag issues at a Graham Cracker's comic store in town, and the guy just gave it to me. So
nice.
It's like,
ooh, freebies, nothing better than that.
I do know Howard Chaykin does sign a lot of stuff because I have two there's two signed Howard Chaykin things now, and I'm not an autograph seeker, so.
Nice.
But
so also, in the news, all that glitters isn't gold. It's also Batman. Bats, what do you think about Robert Pattinson playing the sparkly Batman?
You're the millionth person to ask me this, but
your name is Bats.
yeah. To be honest, I think he's gonna do a good job. I don't have any problems. Like it's just like, is Bats gonna go see the new Batman film? Yes. Does he have to like it? No. And that's like as far as it goes. Like it's when I first saw him, I was like, hey, yeah, he's got a square jaw and he's tall, so
just needs to put on about 40 pounds.
Yeah, it's the same thing with it's this. I posted on my personal Facebook. It says nerds. He's not good enough to play Batman, and then I posted a picture of Mr. Mom, Christian Bale, and the Machinist. Ben
Affleck.
And then I mean Ben Affleck was a great.
He was in Geely.
Yeah, I think Ben Affleck was a good Batman.
But it's just nerds on the internet are gonna be nerds on the internet. They're all gonna
very protective of their characters.
Yeah, but it's like, after Tom King, you can't really do any worse thing to Batman.
Not really, no.
Like I put a poll on Twitter one time that says, who ruined Batman more, Joel Schumacher or Tom King, and it was unanimous.
Joel Schumacher.
Oh no! You can get worse than Tom King.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Kelly Sue works for them. Kelly Sue's there. I mean, shit. They can hire.
I'm
Rainbow
trying to
Rao.
think if there's anything in Batman's history that's worse though.
Frank Miller, All-Star Batman Robin.
No, fuck that. Frank Miller, All-Star Batman with the goddamn Batman was amazing because
I like
else
that comic.
You know what? Yeah, I don't give a shit what anybody says. The goddamn Batman was perfectly fine with me.
I look at All-Star Batman and Robin as the beginning. It's like the Frank Miller trilogy. You have year one, All-Star Batman and Robin, and then that leads to Dark Knight, and then so on and so forth. Frank Miller Batman is not continuity Batman to me.
Yeah.
Ever.
Also, Batman Robin, I just say that non-canon began for Darting Returns, but Darting Returns is its own separate outro story. Also, Batman Robin, the outro story is just so crazy, so stupid, it makes no sense. I just read that one alone, and it's just weird and insane. But
Well,
that's right.
it's completely a ridiculous series. I mean, it
Yeah.
has, but you have to, if you embrace how ridiculous All-Star Batman and Robin is, like, it's fun because you see the scene where Alfred saves Vicky Vale and his shirt gets ripped and he's got 8-pack abs. It's just like, what? It's just so over the top. It's just fun to read.
Is it more random weird than bat nipples?
I will argue with anyone that Batman Forever and Batman and Robin are the best Batman movies.
Hey, I gotta disagree there.
Get the fuck out of here, bats.
Yeah, I gotta disagree.
Okay, now you're just on coke.
Yeah. Listen,
Yeah.
you don't come on the show to troll us, bats.
No,
It's
honest truth. As my, I swear to God, I'll put my hand on the Bible if you want me to. I'll go.
Val Kilmer is my favorite Bruce Wayne, but not my favorite Batman.
I don't know.
I do like him as Bruce Wayne, though. As Bruce Wayne, he's such a snob, but it's just fun to watch.
Yeah.
I had a guy at work once tell me that the prequels were better than the original trilogy for Star Wars.
Oof.
He almost got slapped. Some fucking heresy right there.
The prequel themselves did this okay. The first one,
it was just because he was young enough that, the prequels came out when he was like 9. So it felt like a big deal to him.
I grew up on the prequel trilogy and the trilogy.
He saw the original trilogy afterwards. He didn't realize there was a much better trilogy already.
Yeah. After the new Star Wars films, that's questionable.
These new films are awful.
I mean,
I like Episode 3 more than Jedi, but that's it. That's as far as I go.
I love Episode 3. Episode 3 is my favorite movie next to Episode 4, 5, and 6. Episode 1 I thought was an okay movie. It's not that bad, not that horrible. I've seen worse. Episode 2, yeah, I gotta agree with all people. Not when I did not work. That's not in theaters.
Hey, if you want to watch a pretty good movie, put on Episode 2 on DVD or Blu-ray, and every time, Hayden Christensen and Natalie Portman come on screen, you hit next scene, and it's not the bad movie.
Well, yeah. In fact, watch Clone Wars. That show actually is pretty good.
Yeah, just don't watch the movie that launched
it.
It's awful.
Avoid the movie. The movie not worth it. It's bad.
Did you see the movie Bats? I know you're a Star Wars guy. You see the Clone Wars movie with Zero the Hutt?
I've seen. Is it the animated film that spun off? Yeah, I liked it. I liked it.
You liked it? You like Zero the Hutt?
It was good.
Yeah, see, here's the thing. Like, I watch movies just to be entertained. Like, I'm not trying to be like getting this like philosophical new experience on life and changing my whole worldview because some guys with laser swords had a political disagreements. I just want to watch. Like, I was talking with a buddy of mine because we're talking about different Batman movies. I was like, sometimes at the end of the day, I just want to see colors punch each other.
Well,
and that's like,
did you just say you wanted to see colors punch each other? That sounds like fucking
I don't want to be here.
No, colors.
Dear God. All right, so let's talk about the state of the comic book industry. Matt's fucking ruined the cold open.
Yeah, I should have just worn my Crowder shirt, huh?
Apparently, yes. Let's wear some.
My shirt was cool, a little metal, but I mean, back to Rob Pattinson. I want to give my thoughts.
Okay, yeah.
Sorry to do it, but I'm talking about Rob Pattinson concerning Batman. I think he can play a good Batman. Look, despite Twilight and all that nonsense, even he would hate the movie. Yeah, I don't blame him. Probably it's just awful, but even he agreed the movie was awful. And I support him 100%. I think he can do a good Batman. Now, do I mean he can pull Bruce Wayne? I think so. If you've seen some of his other work, his indie work is fantastic. He's a great actor, and I think he can pull it off. The problem with the Batman villain we have, well, the old one, and not the new one, but the one with Zack Snyder, the third movie was badly written, and it did bad material. If you have good material, a good script, a good lighting, then it can work. And I think he could pull it off. Now,
Yeah, the director is Matt Reeves.
yeah,
Planet of the Apes trilogy. So,
yep.
What did he do? What did Matt Reeves do?
Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, War for the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
He wrote and directed them.
The recent Planet of the Apes trilogy. The recent Planet of the Apes trilogy.
I don't think he did the first movie though.
No, he didn't.
He did the last.
What's with Planet of the Apes directors making Batman movies?
I think they pull it off.
Burton did the.
Yeah. The Marky Mark.
Yeah, he did the remake with Mark Wahlberg.
The stupidest history. Oh, such a bad movie.
The ending made no sense. What the ending? The ending made it go back to the Earth, and then it ate Lincoln. Huh? General Babe? What?
Could you imagine Tim Burton making that movie today, and then having casting a pretty much an all African American cast to be a bunch of apes?
I can have an idea. Oh, we have a racist shit.
Yeah,
I was just shaking my head at the idea of Tim Burton doing any movie today. I was like,
he just did Dumbo.
I saw Dumbo. It sucked. One of the saw this year.
A terrible idea. So my favorite part of that Planet of the Apes movie is when Marky Mark's there and he's like about to leave and it's time for him to like say goodbye, and he's got like this beautiful model blonde that doesn't speak, and then he's got the ape woman. Helena Bonham Carter. Yeah, and he decides to like make out with her instead. I was like, "What the fuck, man?"
I'm watching.
Like, this is some Alien versus Predator bullshit again. What's going on here?
Or ABPR. Was it Lecter? Was it worse?
Yeah, remember
no, the chick that the Predator decides is his new best friend. At
the end,
they're like, movie I can enjoy for what it was. Its sequel can go to hell. Its sequel's garbage. Yeah.
At the end of Alien versus Predator, when she's looking at him, they're like Dawson and Joey from Dawson's Creek, like moving in on each other. That first kiss.
Except they don't kiss with thank God and haven't.
Kidding me, man.
The ape girl probably knows how to peel his banana, so.
Well, likely true. But the other girl didn't speak. It's even better.
Was it weird? The girl did speak in that movie.
All right, so let's get over to the topic at hand. We got 15 people in the chats. I think I've shouted out everyone that's commented so far. Thanks to everyone for joining us. Let's talk about the state of the comic industry. We'll start with our special guest, Tevye. What are your thoughts on the state of the comic book industry? Are things good right now? Are things bad? What's your perspective?
Oh, sorry.
No.
I think the comic industry as a whole, I think it's in a mixed setting right now because, yes, it is actually a bad thing, a good place, because it's all over the place. Let's figure it. I think the comic industry as a whole is more Diamond. Diamond controls most of the market, and the market right now is suffering because Diamond has a monopoly. I think we're going to come from speaker. Hello, Evan. He said hi.
Yep.
Anyway, well, yeah, all right. I thought the comic industry, I think Diamond is a huge problem. Diamond had a huge monopoly, and the comic industry, with that monopoly, they're destroying actually the sales. Sales are going down with Diamond. He is huge monopoly over the retailer. The retailers are getting screwed over by Diamond. They're coming out at a rate with as well. DC and Marvel, well, mostly DC and Marvel these days. But I think the problem in the industry as a whole, it's like in a huge, like downwards, like upward spiral, like a huge mixed bag. Like point gimmicks, variants that go nowhere. With the same variant covers do work, it's just sudden like DC doing stupid gimmicks with Bendis and that nonsense. Marvel is trying to fix themselves finally after 10 years of bullshit. Most of that anyway. They still have some bad books, but that's for any company. DC is in a mixed bag. Mostly downward spiral into Bendis and bad weathers. But I don't know. It's very hard topic. It's like all over the place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So So, Doc, what are your thoughts? Is Diamond the root of the issues with the comic book industry, or do you think it's on an upswing? What's going on?
I don't necessarily think that Diamond is. I don't think Diamond is necessarily. I mean, yeah, Diamond's a problem a little bit, but Diamond can only work with what they have and what is being provided to them. Marvel and DC, especially with their variant schemes and everything, they're the ones that set the agenda. They set the rules. Diamond can only do so much. Is there a problem with having only one monopolistic distributor? Yes, obviously. There's been a problem with that since the mid 90s. Again, I still think that I think long term, I'm not really concerned, primarily because worst case scenario, I've been thinking about this the last couple of weeks, and if Diamond crashes tomorrow, all you end up doing is having a couple of you have a couple larger regional stores. I guarantee there's at least one relatively decent sized West Coast chain. You got Lone Star in the South. You got Heroes in the on the East Coast. You got
Midtown in the Midwest.
You got Midtown. You got Graham Crackers that can essentially work as micro regional distributors.
About that.
So you can essentially get back to the pre-distributor war, but Diamond has to crash first. And I even if they do, it's really not a big deal. I mean, it'll take a little bit of adjustment, and instead of
a mild setback.
Instead of the printers, first of all, you'll have to reevaluate all of the different discounts and
costs will go up dramatically. Costs
need to go down ASAP. Because $5, $10 an issue, that's insane.
They don't set that number. That's the publisher. This has nothing to do with Diamond. All of these.
What I'm saying regarding with Diamond, the cost going up dramatically because when you have one principal distributor, you're able to cut down shipping, costs to all those places, all those different hubs.
Exactly.
You gotta understand with books and stuff like that and periodicals, I'd say 30% of the cost that's involved is in shipping that damn stuff because paper is heavy in bulk.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when you're talking about reams and reams of paper, tons and tons of paper moving around all over the country, the cost of a book is its shipping cost.
Exactly.
So,
shipping 6 pallets of, book A, X-Men number 24 or whatever it is,
right.
to one distributor is cheaper than selling, than shipping 1.5 pallets each to 4 or 6 or 8 distributors.
Exactly.
It's just that simple. And then each of those distributors because the distributor eats the cost of that shipping. So but over the course, and this is gets back to you could actually extend this issue to the crowdfunding model that they currently got going on. There's a reason why the books are more expensive because they got to ship to your house instead of every time you centralize where it's being shipped to, you kick in economies of scale and costs get distributed across more product. So, $50 in shipping over 500 books gets, cut down to a dime a book, which is nothing. But when you're shipping to 50 different people, your shipping costs go way the hell up. So, but all these issues have nothing to do really with Diamond.
Yeah.
Marvel is still the major problem. And the major problem is because they're not adjusting their policies. They keep doubling down and tripling down, and quadrupling down on because the problem is the law of diminishing returns keeps kicking in. So instead of realizing, oh shit, this isn't working anymore, it's we have to do more.
Yeah. Which is
and yeah, it's a big mistake. They, instead of realizing, for a couple of years their variant program and everything worked fine. And was it a little bit of a pain in the ass? Yes. I mean, was it double and triple and quadruple dipping on the same customers? No. Yeah. Well, yes. Yeah, it kind of was.
Well, not as bad.
No.
Yeah, not bad.
I don't think it's bad.
But you were going after, the whole point of a variant scheme is to go after the completist market. Completist market.
Idea.
Well, I don't think even Marvel expects that people are going to go after every single variant now.
Well,
because my God.
But they did for a long period of time. And then they started getting,
that's true.
Right around X-Men 500 is when it started getting a little stupid, where they went to like 1 in 500 variants, 1 in 250 variants, 1 in 500 variants, 1 in 1,000 variants, 1 in 2,500 variants. You
remember what happened with Fantastic Four? Oh my God, Fantastic Four #1.
Variants.
Well, that really revealed the greed in the system. Oh my God!
System.
Well, I go back to, so you have the whole point of a variant market is to go after, trying to get extra money, bleed more money out of your completist market, and or your semi-completist market, and you eventually start pricing the lower tier guys in that market out, and you end up appealing to only a very, very, very small number of customers that can potentially afford, like X-Men Gold and X-Men Blue. Whenever No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the variants. The X-Men Red didn't have them at this level. Blue and Gold had 1 in like 2,500 variants that were the Jim Lee remasters, and
Fantastic Four had with the Ditko remasters.
And they were, basically from the time that you could order them, the stores were buying A covers up, like just the basic covers up, specifically only to get those high tier ratios. And you start when you have
the only people that really got those, the only stores that really got those were Midtown.
Well, I understand that.
But it was kind of like a rewards program for them, I guess.
I understand that. But my point is, when you're appealing to a completist market, and then you're putting out things that are so that you've priced them out from the minute they're solicited, you kill their completism. And all of a sudden, if there's no need to, if it's impossible to get one specific cover, why bother trying to be completist at all?
Well, I thought some of their variant tactics were disrespectful to former creators. You had their 1 in 500 Venom by Tom McFarlane.
Tom McFarlane.
And Jim Lee's X-Men trading card blown up to be a variant that was
What?
And these guys running their own companies, they've left almost 30 years ago. They will not work for Marvel again. And therefore they're doing it in a shady way to like kind of put their name on something that is not legitimate, and it bothered me.
Yeah, no, and I get that, but my point is, all those other things aside, when you're appealing to a completist market, you have to make products that are achievable to those completists. And when you make,
let me tell you how much worse this is too with this, because some of those, like the 1 in 1,000 actually I could get with 1 in 4. Anything over 1 in 1,000 variants for everything that has ever come out, I could not even order it. If I'd ordered 2,500 copies of X-Men #1, I would not have been able to get the 1 in 2,500 variant that was available.
That's insane.
It was not even available. It was not even available to me. Like I say, if I said, well, I'm going to be an idiot today and I'm going to order X-Men #1 that came out, you know, when X-Men #1 was coming out, and I said, well, I'm going to be an idiot today and I'm going to order 2,500 copies of it just because I'm stupid. And so I can get the 1 in 2,500 variant. It wasn't even available to me.
That because of the tier system?
No, well, yes, but it was only available to distribution stores.
Okay.
Like Midtown, like Graham Crackers, like
Diamond
chains.
Mm-hmm.
Chains, actual stores, not the distributors, just actual stores, but only big stores. It is like a reward program for the really huge stores. And the thing is, they didn't even pay for them. I mean, okay, yeah, it's only like $2, $3 or something. For them, probably like $1.50. But they didn't even pay for them. They just got them sent for free. They didn't even have to order them. See, I've got to go through hoops. I've got to go through. Okay, well, I've got to order so many of this cover, so many of that cover, so many of this, and then I can get this special incentive. You know, blah 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 bull. It's all over the place. And now they're doing it to where you're getting certain incentives. You have to order, like, okay, you've got to order 50 copies of Immortal Hulk, 50 copies of Punisher, 50 copies of Amazing Spider-Man, and we'll give you this.
Mm-hmm.
Are you kidding me? That's like insane. That's like bullshit. Like, what the hell is wrong with the distributors? Not distributors. What's wrong with Marvel? Why are they doing these stupid?
They're trying to force people to buy books that they can't.
Clap warning, man!
Like, what the hell?
Yeah, my ears popping.
It's like gambling. It's like gambling at the for variant covers. I mean, holy shit! I've seen bad stuff with the industry, but that's even worse.
But anyway, they've been doing that for a while now. It's gotten that bad. It's gotten much worse now.
I collect the regular cover and everything else.
I might trade go buy physical. Like
I don't worry about Marvel's variants at all anymore, unless it's like a J. Scott Campbell that everybody wants. I don't even bother with it. The only variants that I care about whatsoever is the DC A and Bs.
Mm-hmm.
I have people that want the B covers for the girl comics, you know, for the female led comics, because usually it's a really nice pin-up type quality, for cover B, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Screw it. It's not worth dealing with.
I guess my whole point is that when you're appealing to a certain market, and then in the same in the same heartbeat, killing that market by making it impossible to be that thing anymore. You can't be a completist, and if books are simply just not achievable.
Right. If they want a book being $1,000.
Yes, if a book is so. When you're appealing to that audience, the whole point of the incentive variant program is to try to get extra money out of that portion of the audience, while you're simultaneously killing it by making it impossible for them to still remain that thing. You can't still be a completist if you know, hey, and what is the point of even trying to get the B cover then? If you can't get the G cover or the M cover, what is the point of even buying the 1 in 15 B cover? Because now you can't be a completist. You know you are going to perpetually have a hole in your collection on that one book, so why bother? And now what you've done is you've disincentivized an incentive program.
Mm-hmm.
It's counterproductive, and it's counterproductive to sales. And this
you can't keep it in mint condition if you're living on the street and getting rained on. You spend all your rent money on the stupid comic books.
and it's worth nothing. It's worth jack and shit.
Well, that's the other thing. You've now created a market where disincentivized variants. You've pushed away the completist market. So you've shrunk the completist market. So now the demand side of the supply demand curve is totally out of whack, because now you've killed off your demand for it by killing the segment of the market that you were appealing to by them being completists. They cease being completists because they can no longer get this book. So now the demand and the value that comes as a consequence of the supply demand equation starts tanking as well. So what you're doing is you're essentially causing your own
downfall.
You're killing the secondary market. I know Marvel doesn't give a shit about that, but they need to. When you don't have a decent secondary market, then there's no incentive to be in on the primary market.
Right.
And Marvel has to care about the primary market. DC has realized this to a degree. They've minimized incentive variants. Well, they've reduced. I wouldn't say minimized. They've reduced,
which I'm fine with.
We were talking about this the other day, and Marvel only cares that the shops buy the comics. They don't care that the customers. They don't care if customers buy them. They just care if shops buy them.
Why?
So and right now they have 90% of shops that are out there right now are Marvel cheerleaders who drink the Kool-Aid, who believe all the hype, who believe all the crap that Marvel is preaching. And they don't think critically about the products that are being shipped out right now, about whether or not they can actually sell. And so Marvel's thinking, oh, we're doing great. All these shops, they buy everything that we sell. We could take a shit, wipe our asses with the cover, put it on the stand, and people, put it out, and people will buy it. No, the shops will buy it because they believe what you're selling. The problem is the customers don't believe it anymore.
Yeah, the company don't believe it at all.
The readers don't believe it anymore. So that's why in sales numbers, distribution numbers follow sales numbers, and sales numbers are dropping, and then distribution numbers drop because there's fewer stores out there to buy the comics.
Okay. Hey, I just want to ask you this question. Do you think there are comic stores out there that are intentionally buying books they know they'll never be able to sell just because they want to support the industry?
Yes. I think that they think over the long term that they'll eventually be able to sell those books. Yeah. Maybe not in the short term, but they're saying, well, at worst I can sell them for half off, and get my cost back, at worst. But the problem is they're not, there's still stores out there sitting on 40, 50 copies of Fantastic Four #1. There's still stores out there that are sitting on, copies of X-Men Gold #1, X-Men Blue #1. Nobody wants those back issues because they're all flaming turds.
They're not good at all.
They want to buy. People want to buy back issues, but they don't want recent back issues mostly. So there's a couple of there's some exceptions. Immortal Hulk, there's
X-Men Lane. X-Men Lane, one of my favorite stories.
Cosmic Ghost Rider. There are some good recent back issues, good recent series, but they're few and far between. It's nothing like it was in the 80s and 90s. So what are you going to do?
You can't. Sorry to interrupt, but I thought that comes in the whole Kool-Aid stuff. That's insane to me because why the hell would stores buy Marvel variant if it's bad for the market? That sounds insane, but also nuts because why would they do that? Shouldn't one want the customer first, then focus on the store buying the comics? It should be the customer buying the comics, not the other way around.
Marvel definitely sees the shops as their customers, not the customers of the shops. That's definitely been true. So I just want another perspective. Lance, I know that you're more of an indie guy. You read some books I've never even heard of. Marvel's it's kind of on the upswing, but it's still not in a good place. DC's on a downswing. You know, what is your perspective on the state of the industry as someone who's heavily invested in indie comics?
I think I was actually gonna. Thanks for asking me that. I look at Dark Horse and I see them becoming a manga publisher, which they've already started to transition into. They're moving out of comics. Everything they used to have seems to have gone to different publishers, and there's a few things, but there's not much. You look at their solicits, and it's a quarter of what it was 3 years ago. And then you have Dynamite. They're, I don't know, they're not very exciting to me or interesting. And then Image has seen better days. They're gonna have a problem soon because a lot of when Image was more popular 3 or 4 years ago, those series are all ending right now, and they don't have anything to replace them with. They have a lot
Spawn, Invincible ended.
Well, Spawn's there. Spawn will always be there as long as there's an Image. But I look at like they don't have their series other than Saga don't have the legs to carry anything up to 50 issues anymore. Everything is done by the issue 30 because they can't sustain a reading audience longer than 2.5 years anymore.
Yeah.
Have you tried to read Savage Dragon lately?
Oh, I read some of that, and my god, it's a nightmare.
Have you guys? Have any of you tried to read Savage Dragon lately? What do you?
No,
Wes.
I did.
Oh, geez. Oh my god, man!
What the hell am I reading?
It's just porn, and it's with clever artwork. You know, I've always thought his artwork, not Kim, but I always thought
Larson.
Yeah, I always get Keown and Larson confused for some reason. But I always thought Eric Larson's artwork was pretty good. You know, it was part of that 90s big hair, what I call big hair band type, artwork. You know, it's a little extreme, a little out there. Wonderful stuff for covers. But he just, oh my God, there's no plot. There is no actual story. There's no ongoing, there's no motivation for keeping the comic going except for Larson's ego. So,
well, to be fair, he's been writing the comic for years, and it's his baby. And for better or for worse, I gotta give him credit for writing his own creation for years. And I give him props for writing his baby.
I don't know if it's the baby that turned into a zombie in the Dawn of the Dead remake, then I don't want that baby.
That's true.
I can get rid of that baby.
He drove it around. It's like 2,000 copies a issue right now, right?
Yeah, it's something like that. I had one guy that was wanting it. He's like, oh, I'll use a completist. He wanted to go through his Savage Dragon run to the bitter end. And even he oh God, I can't do this anymore. I can't do it anymore.
Can you imagine how rough his pencils look for that comic? I mean, are there even pencils, or does he just draw it with a Sharpie now? It looks horrible.
Probably a Sharpie, probably.
Oh, well, I think
crayons. I think Denny's. He's like eating breakfast, and he's like, "Oh God, I gotta crap out an issue
Let me doodle
by
this.
noon." Oh, there you go. Boobies, big penis. Okay, there you go.
He draws it the way that I used to write English papers in high school, on the back of my placemat with coffee rings and cigarette burns on it.
Right.
But exactly. the issue with Image. Well, the issue with Image right now is most of their decent. You Stacks, you did hit a good point there that all their kind of longer term titles are ending, and
he was right. He's right there. Yeah, he's right.
Yeah, he's right.
The problem is you didn't get those books in the meantime because David Brothers was there for a good number of years as the guy that was basically making the decision on what in the blue hell did somebody just
Hopefully Tebby is okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
hopefully he didn't fall out of his chair. Okay.
But David Brothers was there for a while, and he was basically controlling what was getting produced. And thankfully he's gone, but the problem is they had about 3 years in there where there was really no decent books getting greenlit because everything turned into somebody's bad failed screenplay. And there wasn't
they still got Jeff Lemire, just in case you think that's over.
But Jeff is I've never been terribly impressed by the guy. But my point is, David Brothers.
No, I mean as far as the screenplay take.
Oh yeah.
That's what I don't like about his writing, is it all comes off as screenplays.
Yeah,
it does.
Well,
he writes it for pilots. It feels
but with David Brothers now gone, there's a halfway decent chance. I don't know who replaced him, but you're going to have that gap in the middle where they're trying to find things to develop to put in the place of all the stuff that's more short term, that nothing that had legs.
Mm-hmm.
Walking Dead just had an issue that's going to end the series.
But Walking Dead?
Oh,
everyone's going to jump off after the last issue.
Because Rick Grimes
died? So? Because of Rick?
What happened?
Yeah, they killed off Rick Grimes.
Wait, he died? When did that happen?
Well, hey, fuckers, thank you for the spoiler alert. I haven't read it yet.
I didn't spoil it. They did.
God, that could be months, man. Your pile is hundreds.
Yeah, well, at least give it more than 3 days, dude.
We don't even get a
class
warning on the show, let alone
I know about that.
In all fairness, that was previous issue. That's 2 weeks ago.
10 days ago.
Yeah, it was almost 2 weeks ago. So
okay, all right, then never mind. But my point still remains that with Brothers out of there, there's gonna be delay in developing and finding and locating new projects to be that replacement for Invincible or Saga or whatever. And you're gonna have to look for it outside of the Image partners, because Robert Kirkman can only create so much shit for Image at this point. And
he has 2 new series that have, Die, and Oblivion Song. I think they've both been pretty successful, right?
Yeah, I think they've been successful. I don't know what those series.
But I'm talking about Image's heyday for their kind of more indie style stuff that really took off. It was big. It was because they were finding guys that weren't the partners. So, Brian K. Vaughan is not a partner at Image. Rick Remender is not a partner at Image. So getting projects from guys that aren't partners, or just whose name isn't Robert Kirkman, because let's be honest, when's the last time Todd or Larson or Valentino or Silvestri created anything new? So you're going to have to find bigger projects from other pros that are able to.
Frankly, there's more competition between indie publishers. You can go to 10 different publishers now. I would say some of them are. I look at Black Mask and Aftershock.
Yeah, I think so. And Archie.
I've yet to see anything that I really need from them. I did like one series with Piotr Kowalski called was it Come Into Me? That was kind of like a Cronenberg type of body horror story. That was Black Mask. That was really good. But
it was that actually produced a lot of buzz in the shop. It was like kind of like, I would say, I think my shop is 6% women, 6 maybe 7% ladies. As far as
you're not allowed to say that.
And no, and that's high.
50% of women read comics.
That's
Wow.
high too.
It is?
Six
That's good news.
6.5% is high in the industry. I'm proud of my 6.5% women, and they were very excited over that. You know, that was you know, that was a thing. So, and I really try to keep an eye open for things that'll really appeal to them. You know, they come in and I'll talk to them. I say, hey, you know, this is such and such is coming out. How do you feel about that? You've been interested in that artist before or that writer before. So Lumberjanes actually sells pretty well at my shop. I don't get any for the wall usually, but I do order 12 copies. So
Wait, well, what about Birthright? Did that sell well?
Huh?
Lance, you gotta unmute yourself.
You know,
He's talking about Birthright. Did Birthright so well?
yeah, because that series with Joshua Williamson, that series has been amazing. I love that series.
Yeah, it sold. I think it's like
Hey,
10 to 15 copies. I think.
Yeah,
That's
I don't have
definitely.
the numbers right in front of me.
but this series has been amazing. I love that series. Like, holy shit, the way the issue, I won't spoil enough for you, but damn, it was epic.
All right, hold up, guys. Hold up. We've heard from everybody so far. We've had one man sitting in the back waiting for his opportunity to give his thoughts on the industry. Matt, what's the industry like for you, man? Is it good?
Oh, me? Are we done talking about variant covers?
Yeah, I think so.
You know, I like what I like, and lately I've been just trying to just avoid all the drama, and obviously I enjoy a shit post here and there, but
Here and there, okay.
yeah. I try not to completely shit post, but I realize that's all I do. The industry is I feel like the industry is always going through some form of drama, and something is always horrible and the worst thing that could ever happen. So it's just like this endless cycle of outrage. Mm-hmm. It's almost like it's its own YouTube algorithm. You got to follow the trends of outrage to stay relevant, and that's just comics. It feels like lately, and it's like
sad.
I'm gonna read my handful of DCs, and I'm gonna read my handful of Marvels, and I'm gonna buy whatever the hell I like, and as it comes out, like this was my stack yesterday. I got Section 0. No one reads that. No one talks about it, even though there's a diversity in comics thing. I found this. This is freaking awesome.
Ooh, Spawn
Wildcat.
Wildcat,
written by Alan Moore. Another Spawn miniseries written by Alan Moore. So it's just like, I'm just going to buy whatever I want to buy. And I got this as well. Godzilla. It's like, so the industry is going to be the industry. It's like this best friend that you don't talk to anymore other than on the internet.
Yeah.
So you're done swearing off Marvel and DC for good? You're just like, whatever. Yeah,
I'm so tired of just being upset over dumb crap that doesn't really affect me. It's like, if Marvel and DC just like tanked tomorrow and they're like, all right, we're not publishing any comics for the rest of our existence, be like, okay, that's fine. There's a whole store of back issues, and I'll be totally fine. I got a bunch of books back here that I haven't finished. Like, my reading stack is an entire shelf.
Nice. Yeah.
No, it's not nice. It's a pain in the ass because I keep buying comics every
Wednesday.
no, that's fine.
Well, you know what Ash said.
Ash
back
says a lot.
issues are a waste of time.
No,
why read back issues? They're a waste of time.
There's no future.
There's no future in back issues. No, I picked on him, but that was a very interesting comment that he made. I was like,
it's because he.
I sprained my eyes rolling him.
So a lot of people, and I'm sure you deal with this too, Pele, where people are constantly chasing the new thing. right?
Yeah.
That's like, like, and I'm like that to some degree with, sorry, with Batman comics. I mean, Tom King's just kind of broke my soul, where I'm like, for the first time in 20 years that I'm not buying Batman every week. And same with with your dad with Superman. It's like just at some point, it's like you just give, and you're like, I can't take this anymore. But there's just so much more material.
Oh God, I don't even think about that,
it's like
it's gotten to the point now I can't even mention the character.
That's sad.
And he starts to rant. It's like,
But when I started collecting comics as a 9-year-old, 10-year-old boy, I was only collecting back issues, and I was collecting things randomly and sporadically based on if the cover was cool. And it wasn't until about 13, 14 years old where I was like, okay, I'm going to start doing this monthly and buying that, every month as they come out. And then as I was collecting monthly, it was just kind of always a forwards and backwards kind of thing. So it's still the same way. It's like I always collect back issues. Like every week I buy a couple of new ones and a couple of old ones. And it's just how I enjoy comics. And, randomly one day I'll be like, I'm going to buy some Bloodshots, and then I'll get some Bloodshots, and then, or be like, I'm going to get some of those Marv Wolfman Fantastic Four. It's like, I just buy whatever I feel like buying at the time, as well as some of the books that are in my.
Are you still buying Hawkman?
Yeah.
Hawkman is amazing.
The DC books that I'm buying right now are just Detective, Hawkman, Batman Beyond.
Interestingly enough, as far as Hawkman's concerned, that's like the last title that most people that are disgusted with comics, that's like the last title that they've hung on to. And they're feverishly hanging on to it, with their fingernails, and they're like, if this goes away, I'm done for good. And I believe them. I honestly believe them. And you have, and there's some Immortal Hulk people too.
Hulk's amazing.
But those two books, they're on those two books.
The Adam and Hawkman team up was one of the best team ups I've read in a DC comic in years. In that series, that was so good, and the characters were written so perfectly. It's been a long time since I'd seen that type of interaction between two kind of not Batman characters, or Superman or whatever.
I think
I heard one thing that was interesting the other day, and this is I've got a friend that writes. It's a Hollywood writer, not a big Hollywood writer. He does some episodes of a couple, various things here and there. He wrote for Jimmy Fallon. He wrote for Jimmy Fallon for a little while.
So he's not.
Don't blame him. Yeah, don't blame him. He's actually pretty funny. But he said that one of the things being pushed around Hollywood right now is an Immortal Hulk script.
Nice.
So for a film script, Immortal Hulk, that was then turned into a television script. It kind of morphs back and forth and all. But they are very seriously looking at Immortal Hulk as being the next Hulk.
It'll never happen.
One small problem.
You don't think so?
There's no chance of it happening.
Yeah.
Because Universal still owns all distribution rights on solo Hulk projects. Disney will not make it. Disney will not make it because they could literally make a fucking Power Pack movie that will make more with 100% of the box office than what they'll get for 50% of the box office, splitting it with Universal.
What if they set up a deal like Sony? I mean,
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. There's nothing to gain. They already have that deal. It's why they're able to use Hulk in Avengers.
Except that deal.
If they make a solo Hulk movie, it must be distributed by Paramount.
What about a Hulk? What about a Hulk TV show though? That's under a different distributor.
Different distributor.
different rights holder, isn't it?
Something like
No.
that.
My understanding is that Hulk, all distribution rights for live action of Hulk is still with Universal. That's why they were able to do the Hulk cartoon for Disney XD or whatever the hell it was.
Hulk 80 Smash.
Yeah, because they were able to do the Hulk cartoon because it's not live action. But all live action solo Hulk projects live with Universal. So if they go to TV, if they go to movie, it doesn't matter. They will only take home half of it. And they could make a Power Pack movie that they would make more money on getting 100%. They can make a Night Thrasher movie. They can make a Speedball movie that would make more than 50% of a Hulk movie. So
I found a cartoon.
Show. They'll never. Again, cartoon is not included in that because it's not live action. But anything live
it's
action.
the same thing with Batman with Fox and Warner Brothers.
Fox. Oh yeah, Fox did Gotham, but Gotham ended. Gotham done. So done. No,
but they own Fox owns the rights to live action Batman on television. That's why you don't ever get to get a full image of Batman in Gotham or in the Titans TV show, or ever will get a Batman.
Titans, we all getting Batman. No. We all getting Batman and Titans.
No. Fox only bought the distribution rights for Gotham. They licensed Gotham because Warner Brothers it was too high of a budget of that show to do the CW, and they don't own they're not partners at a different network, whereas Marvel is owned by Disney, who also owns ABC, so they could go to ABC with their projects, and for their lower budget projects, they were able to go to Freeform, which is also ABC.
Wait, Netflix? What Netflix show? Like Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Iron Fist.
Netflix was wholly different because they wanted to get into the streaming game, and this is when Disney only owned a very small portion of. I don't even know what the hell was going on. I just heard.
Sorry, my dog.
I think a dog was trying to eat his mic.
Yeah, my dog Walter. Scream for a minute.
But no, they wanted to get into the streaming game, and they thought that was the future. It was a test market before launching Disney Plus, and they only owned a small portion of Hulu back then instead of having controlling interests like they do now.
So Disney bought Fox.
No, I'm talking about Disney with the Netflix deal.
I know, but I'm talking about Disney bought Fox. They bought Hulu, technically speaking.
Well, the whole Fox and Hulu thing is that's wholly different. But
gotcha.
No, my point was that they Fox for Gotham, they only bought the broadcast rights for
the distribution rights.
Warner Brothers still owned the streaming rights for syndication. Fox had to have Fox was allowed the streaming rights for their Fox app. What in the world is all that noise?
I have no idea.
Well, you were talking, so that's why it happened.
But no, Fox owned the broadcast rights for Gotham. They owned the initial streaming rights for their Fox app, but Warner Brothers got paid for Gotham when it went to Netflix. Fox wasn't allowed to sell those rights to Netflix. Warner Brothers owns those. But the problem is DC and Warner Brothers don't have a television. Their only television network is the CW. And the CW doesn't have a big enough audience and doesn't get high enough ratings to justify an expensive show. Batman would be an expensive show. Plus, DC and Warner Brothers have had this weird thing for a very long time.
Bad embargo.
About putting Batman or Superman on television when they can make it as the main character of a television show, when they can do films and make a lot more money. It's the reason why even when Superman popped onto Supergirl, it was only rare. He only appeared in a handful of episodes. It's why Batman only appears in a little bit of Titans and never appears at all on any of the Arrowverse shows, even though they talked about Bruce Wayne. And
they don't want to. They don't want to dilute the brand. They don't want to dilute the brand. So and that does kind of make us. That does make a little bit of sense, but I do think that they worry about that too much. But
I think
anyway, what was the subject? What was the actual subject we were on?
Oh yeah, so I wanted to get back on that. So with the state of the industry, sometimes we can get a little down on things, but there's actually a lot of positives going on right now. I'm like really stoked about the very top end of Marvel has 7 or 8 like really, really good series right now, which they didn't even have 12 months ago. I think they had like Thanos maybe.
That's not true. Mike Bohr is good, but Jane Foster was awesome. Bohr been maybe with War of the Realms. Spider-Man been good. Many Spider-Man been good, but at the dance that left.
So there's some positive going around. Matt, what's something positive with the industry with you? What do you think's the positive that's going on right now? Let's do something nice.
So there's a good handful of books that I'm really enjoying. I'm loving Spawn. I'm loving the TMNT Batman crossover. Detective has been fantastic. Daredevil, and that one caught me off guard.
I told you.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I had to go listen to Zach convince me, which I apologize for.
Yeah.
And Spider-Man has been consistently freaking a Spider-Man book.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say it's great, but it's been entertaining and fun, and so that's a Spider-Man book to me. And there's a lot of good books, and I think that we spend a lot of time just like complaining on like things like Carols in Crisis and
I hate her place. That would
like they're doing they're rebooting X-Men, and everyone's like surprised that it's almost like that Pikachu meme where it's like Marvel rebooted a series and everyone's all everyone, I'm sorry to rag on Doc, but it's like when Doc was all, upset about the X-Men reboot, it's like he acted surprised in 2019 Marvel. Like, I was just like, you thought they were going to get to like 30 issues? No,
they lied.
No. The reason why I was pissed off about it is because it came as an ongoing, and it's actually successful. I understand their nonsense with constantly rebooting these failed series because they want to make them. They think that this time Fetch is going to happen, but it's not going to happen. And
but just like Valiant, Marvel doesn't make ongoing series. They make maxi series and mini series,
mini events or events, particularly like War of the Realms.
That's why I didn't jump on Daredevil, is because I was reading the Charles Soule stuff and I was enjoying it, and they were like, "Oh, now Daredevil's dead, but he's not really dead. Here's a mini series, and we're gonna start a new series with Chip Zdarsky." And I'm like, I love Chip Zdarsky, but I don't want to start another mini series that's gonna be $5 for the first issue, and then here's 3 that don't matter, and here's another $5 issue. And I was like, you guys, man. And so I just jumped off, for everyone's starting point is someone's jump off point. And, had to get to about 5 issues to like really like let it settle that it's a good book.
I think the problem with these reboots is that they keep slightly reimagining each series when they do them, and that's a problem for continuing reading. Like, there's been 4 versions of the Punisher in the last 4 volumes, and they're all different. They're all different takes. And Daredevil's the same thing. Daredevil's been 4 different takes the last 4 iterations. It'd be better if they slowly kind of made these changes instead of another course correction. If there's more, there's just a serious lack of continuity, and so it's like, well, let's see what this person's take is, and once it's over, it'll be rebooted again, and then I can forget it exists if I don't like it.
Okay, hey guys, I just wanted to say shout out to Fierce Crimson Speedster, aka Edward, for being my 550th subscriber. Thank you very much for subscribing to the channel. I guess he's heading out to watch some Matrix movies, but that's awesome. I really appreciate the support. Well, we'll go back to you, Lance. You know, what's something positive with the industry? What are you jazzed about right now? What's got your feel spots moving, buddy?
I love prestige books and oversized books, and DC has been putting out with Black Label, and until recently, I've been on board with buying every Black Label title. I'm not interested in the Harley Quinn one, but they are publishing 2 to 3 at the same time, and I find myself thinking they're all essential. And I love the cardstock, or the outer covers, and just the premium format. And you do get your bang for your buck out of those. You get art that you don't normally see. Like, I was surprised to see the Greg Capullo double-sized issue going for $6. I mean, that's a good deal. The Bermejo and magazine format is beautiful to look at. You just open it up and it's gigantic, and the city looks so big. I could stand to see more of that. Even I think DC's gonna be publishing probably 2 prestige Batman titles at all times going forward, and more often than not, they're good. And we'll see what the Superman holds for year 1. I'm excited for year 1 also.
I have no hope for year 1. Year 1, I have no hope for Frank Miller.
Hey, we're being positive here.
Yeah. What's the negative?
We're talking about the good stuff. Also, before I send it to someone else, I want to say what's up to Real Comic Stacks. He's a good friend of mine, good friend of the channel. He has an amazing YouTube channel in his own right. If you like Marvel Comics and the MCU, you should definitely subscribe to him and talk to him in the chat. He's a great guy. So, Doc, you're the salty guy of the group, but there's got to be something that you really love about the industry right now. What's going on? What's good for you?
You know what?
Alterna?
I do really, yeah. I really like what Alterna's doing. I do like what Alterna's doing. I like what you know what I've actually been enjoying. I picked up a number of the issues of Spider-Man after, you know, my one of my buddies just kind of like forced me to sit down and read about 6 issues of it, and I'm like, fuck you, this is good. Why does this have to be good? I've enjoyed it. I still mostly like Uncanny right now. I'm gonna finish that out, and I'll be, as I said, I'll be patiently awaiting to find out whether or not I'm gonna get an issue 43, an issue 1, or an issue 23 with the reboot. Whatever it is will determine whether or not I continue buying it. I like the idea of John Hickman doing X-Men. I'm probably not going to give too many shits about it because of all the nonsense with reboots and whatnot. I plan
on checking out the
Power X.
X-Men.
Yeah, Power X.
At least like flipping through it, and if the art catches my interest and there's enough action in there.
Well,
I'll
you know
probably
what?
pick it up.
I'm curious about it, but I'm also reluctant on it because the preview stuff I've seen already, it looks like they're doing a bunch of like bullshit, like those infinity warps type things.
Oh, Infinity
with-
War. What the hell was that?
with a lot of the characters. It looks like they're merging Polaris and Magneto because he's running around in a green version of his costume all of a sudden for no apparent reason.
He looks better in green, right?
Not particularly.
Yeah. This is an alternate universe, isn't it? This is like Age of X-Men all over again. Age of X-Men would have put you on a mess.
But they're also doing it looks like Kitty Pryde with the Soul Sword, like they're gonna kill Magic or merge her with Kitty. It looks like Nightcrawler doesn't look like Nightcrawler. It looks like he got somehow mixed with Corsair. I don't understand what the hell's going on, and that's not really it's not Age of Apocalypse. I understood that. No, Age of Apocalypse was great. Age of X-Men sucks. But my point is, whenever they did it with Age of Apocalypse, it made sense because of what they did in the story. Now maybe they're going to do something that makes it make sense. I don't know. I'm keeping an open mind to a degree with it, but I don't know if I'm going to give a shit. But I think right now, I like what Alterna's doing. I like what Peter Simeti's doing. I like his printing partnership program that I think a lot more of the indie creators really need to consider getting on board with. I'm very curious about his Alterna distribution that may end up being a good substitute for indies in place of Diamond, because Diamond doesn't give a shit about indies. If they short people, if they don't do reorders, they don't care. It's not enough bulk for them to matter. So
I can't even. I started out with Alterna. I started out by buying through Diamond because I didn't want to buy like the whole box. When Alterna typically will sell in an entire counter space, it's like a counter box. And I was like, well, I just want to get like a dozen issues of each just to see how it all starts out. And but the problem is Diamond didn't really care if they shipped those issues or not.
Yes.
They really didn't. It's like I ordered 12 issues of
Mr. Crypt or something.
It came on a Wednesday, something like that, and not in the box. Where did these go? Oh, we missed our printing target. We missed our
what?
Really? I don't think Alterna missed its printing target.
I call bullshit.
So I don't think Alterna missed. And then they're like, oh, well, we just didn't get them on time.
Bull crap. That bull crap. Diamond lied.
Yes, they lied. They don't care because it's not enough volume. It's not moving enough bulk that they're going to give a shit. So something like Alterna distribution that may be basically a smaller scale Diamond, which would be good for small publishers, independent publishers, so that they're not treated like second class citizens by Diamond, where they're essentially, they're treated no different than Marvel and Image and Dark Horse would be, but at a smaller scale is a good idea. That way you can let Diamond handle all the massive bulk stuff. That's fine. Then Alterna can handle all of the much smaller volume. So instead of getting, I don't know how many boxes you get in from Diamond on a typical Tuesday Pele, but I'm betting probably about 20 to 30.
Oh God, no. No. It's
No?
about 5 to 7.
Okay. I didn't know how big your store was.
But they're pretty
so-
well packed. They're pretty
Yeah.
well packed, and they don't really. There's no space in the box anymore. So
I keep forgetting that the diamond boxes they hold about a long box, not a short box.
yeah, they really pack those bastards in now, and that's actually a good thing because with all that extra space that they used to have to move around is where the comics got damaged.
Yeah.
So,
But my point is,
Anyway, go ahead.
instead of you might get one box from alternate distribution, but everything that you order will be there. So that is something that I like instead of handling, letting. Basically, what happens is the indie publishers become second-class citizens at Diamond, but having somebody specifically for lower volume distribution probably going to be good. It'll probably be
That's awesome. So
That's
that's
pretty cool.
okay.
I wanted to give a shout out to Daniel. I think it's Liebart from Portugal. I think it's the first time he might have been in the on the live show. Really appreciate you showing up. And he says he's used to buy Marvel DC back in the 80s and 90s. We all love back issues here. So welcome to the show and thank you very much. Back to you, Tevye. What's one thing that you like right now about the industry? What makes you happy?
One of my favorite series of all time in DC, Super Sons. It's my all-time favorite series. I love this series, and I've been reading each issue. I read the Super Sons, and that series made me happy. Because, it's the son of Superman, I'm the son of Issue Roy. Yeah, my all-time favorite character. Of course, Bendis ruined him, but I'm a positive. And, it's my all-time favorite series. Super Sons made me happy. And Marvel is amazing. Spider-Man made me happy. You get Nick Spencer been fixing that book. And get rid of all the Dan Slott nonsense. Thank God. X-Men has been, mixed at best. The Age of X-Men has been garbage. Hickman, I'm rooting for the Hickman. I think she can fix X-Men and make it go back on track. Get rid of all the Age of X-Men stuff. Get rid of all the nonsense. It's fixed up series. Amazing again. X-23. Oh, sorry, crap warning. Sorry, doctor. Yes, so I know what he is. X-23, I usually like to say with all new Wolverine or Tom Taylor, amazing. Before that series got canceled, and then Marvel being stupid, they made roll back to X-23 piss me off. But Ford been awesome. Water Realms at the event is awesome. The tie-ins, ignore the tie-in nonsense. But what am amazing? Justice League, holy shit, Justice League has been awesome. I mean, holy shit, Justice League and Scott Snyder, but amazing. This Rage issue, it's particularly Superman had to try in the board, but he goes full Super Saiyan at one point and punch the foot in the face. It's amazing. Justice League has been awesome. Oh yeah, Justice League has been amazing. Much better than the current DC. The Detective Comics amazing of Detective. Action, not so much. Superman, Tomasi was my guy, and Superman next to Dangerous Action Comics. Both books are amazing. Young Justice, that's been a mixed bag. That's been good and bad. Look, Bendis, I must say, just running the order, I'll give Bendis it. Young Justice is one of the good things that come out in one of the comics, next to Naomi. Well, okay, Naomi, it's been, yeah. Flash been good. Green Lantern, that's just been weird. After indie stuff, Lord and Billy Birthright, that's been amazing. That's been awesome. Birthright is one of my favorite series in the indie books. Spawn's been good. Supply Spawn been amazing. I think that's about it for indie stuff. Marvel DC, I do like Marvel. I like DC. DC, weighing me down lately. Break my heart. Oh, I got to DC Deceased by Tom Taylor. Deceased, the zombie story. That's been awesome. If you're a fan of zombie, a fan of DC hero like me, who love this character, I say read DC Deceased by Tom Taylor.
There you got it. So if you're looking for a new series that's coming out, Tevye's got lots of new comics that he's into right now. He's really jazzed about return to form for some of the older characters. I'll agree. I think Amazing Spider-Man's been excellent. Really happy with the Mortal Hulk. I think Daredevil's really good right now. So last but not least, let's talk to our retailer.
What is that?
I have no idea.
Is that
Doctor?
All right, let's talk to our retailer. Pele, what gets you excited when you get out in the morning for the comic book industry? What's good for you, man?
Oh, I love my back issues. But as
There's
far
no
as
future in that.
there's no future in back issues. Oh,
No
shit.
making fun of Ash when he's not here to defend himself.
Oh,
Guys.
man.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, back issues.
Well, although I've got to, it seems like I always have to apologize for him at this one point. But Immortal Hulk is fantastic. I despise Al Ewing, but Immortal Hulk is really damn good. Amazing Spider-Man's been very good. I don't know if there's a lot more. I don't know if there's a lot going for the title after Hunted, but you know, it's still maintaining its sales. It looks interesting, so people are still buying it. DC, you know, Detective still moves really well. It's actually surpassed. I noticed something that Detective now surpassed Batman in sales.
Yeah, I can imagine why.
At my shop now, Detective has surpassed Batman in sales. I was looking at the figures for last week, and I just, you know, kind of freaked out a little bit on that because it's never happened before. But it's just funny. If somebody would have told me that Tomasi on Detective would outsell King on Batman, I would have last year I would have told them that they were full of shit. But it's happening. So, Justice League does well. Justice League sells well. And Hawkman, you know, if it wasn't for Hawkman, I think that a lot of people would have already dropped New Comics entirely. They're like that's the last book that some people are holding on to for dear life. And
that's the bird.
I think it's not.
Yeah,
It's not my house.
I think Jeremiah.
I'm back inside. I don't know what the hell.
I don't have
Maybe
any
it's,
birds.
let me close my windows. Maybe it's me.
Bailey's got a bunny rabbit. He doesn't have a bird.
Yeah, money.
No, I've got a bunny rabbit. I got a bunny rabbit, 3 cats, and a dog. I don't. 4 cats actually.
Bunny.
The one outside.
I thought it was you, Pele. I'm like, I know you taking stray animals, so
Yeah.
No, it's not quite that bad. Thank God.
Bailey, I know. I think this was the first week people could start pre-ordering for Absolute Carnage, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think so. Yeah, that's a new Venom event.
What was it like? Did you have a lot of people coming in the store saying, "Throw that on my polls"? You know, is it as hot as I think it's going to be?
It doesn't. Well, we ask people. We ask people that are the Spider-Man people, and then we have the people that are just like anything new that Spider-Man included.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm going to probably order 100 copies of it. Number 1. So we'll see how that goes. I do think it's the typical Marvel bullshit where they, you know, where they have like
big.
Yeah.
The crossovers are a little out of control. Just a
Yeah.
little.
No, tie-ins.
But I think the main series, as long as it's well done, self-contained, it's, you know, it doesn't spill over too much beyond the Spider books. It'll be, as far as the main arc, then I think it'll do really well. But yeah, I'll probably, you know, about 100 copies. The pre-order is in. I put down 100. I can change that, but I probably won't. I think I'm gonna
get the main story, but I'm not gonna buy any of the tie-in.
Yeah, I agree. The main story, I'll probably keep with the main story itself. The tie-in, not so much.
What most people are probably going to, what I've seen most people are going to do is they get their Amazing Spider-Man and they get their Venom. And the Miles Morales Spider-Man does pretty well. It probably gets a take rate of about 60% of the Amazing Spider-Man readers. So you got Miles, Amazing, Venom, and Maximum Carnage. Those 4 titles, I think that if you get those 4 titles, that you're going to be good as gold. As far as getting the main story
on the Miles Morales tie-ins, if it's a good artist, I'm going to get it. But if it's somebody I don't even know who it is. I'll probably won't do it. But yeah,
I don't like Miles enough to want to buy a miniseries.
I like Myers, but I think he's kind of, and I've saying for years now, he's just an open image. In open image, he works. In the main image, he doesn't.
Miles is not our Spider-Man, but he is the Spider-Man of like
the open image.
The Generation Z, the Gen Z people.
I wouldn't go that
I get
far.
a lot of kids is 16 to 18 years old, some younger, even 14 to 18.
Yeah.
Are really into Miles, and they're really into Miles because of Edge of Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
So,
Well, Into Spider-Verse, the movie, you get an anime movie at the house.
no, I was talking about the comic.
Oh, the sequel to Spider-Verse. Gotcha.
You know,
Yeah.
but
I just won't buy anything by Salad Man.
Oh, why?
Saladin.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, if he's on the
I just
book,
won't buy anything by Salad Man.
I'm assuming
Yeah, I
that he's
won't-
not
I won't-
gonna be, but
Yeah,
He's
if
a
Chip
scumbag.
Zdarsky was writing Miles Morales, I definitely,
yeah.
I would consider it.
You know, I
Still,
Annual
I've
I'm
never
still hoping
bought-
they'll put him on Amazing. I'm still hoping they'll put him on Amazing at some point, but I'm not going to hold my breath.
I'm finding Expected Amazing.
I want
Expected
him on
Very
FF.
Amazing.
You know, I've enjoyed some alternate universe versions of characters, but I just don't care for like the added on ones Marvel does, like or the derivative ones. I just don't care for it. It's like, well, the story, if it was any good, it'd be in the main book. Like I normally just, I don't know, like Batman has a lot of derivatives. I'm not a fan of those either. They try to do something different, I guess.
So I'm excited about a lot of stuff with the industry. I think Absolute Carnage is going to be great. I think Marvel is on the come up. Like I said, Daredevil, Amazing Spider-Man, Spider-Man Live Story, basically anything Chip Zdarsky touches. I think Silver Surfer Black looks like it's going to be pretty cool. Although there's a bit of a moose knuckle in one of the images.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Moose
check out
Knuckle.
Silver
It's a
Surfer.
full spread. It's a full spread crotch shot.
Well, my favorite alternative is Spider-Go.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing he's wearing some tighty whities in that one, because you know those boys would be dangling otherwise.
Yeah.
But,
Well,
The Silver Surfer doesn't have a costume, right? He just like
no, he didn't.
turns into silver, so he has no junk.
that's just depressing.
Let that go. That body parts.
That's
But anyway,
depressing.
I call it him because my favorite alternative is Spider-Go. It's all
Surfer not having any junk. That's depressing.
What's the story of Absolute Carnage? Does anybody know?
I do.
He,
Spill it.
Basically, Carnage is coming back, and he's gonna kill everyone who's ever worn a symbiote, which is everyone in the Marvel universe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to do it?
He's trying to merge.
God.
He's trying to merge with the symbiote god.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no.
basically, anytime someone wears a symbiote, even though it's gotten off them, they've like been like, it basically popped their cherry. They're tainted. They're no longer pure.
Yeah.
So Carnage wants to just kill everyone who's unpure.
You guys, he's a psychopath, he's a murderer. Got maximum Carnage, where you guys do the same thing.
It's basically no hymen, no diamond.
Yeah.
The Spider-Man story.
All right, back to the stuff I'm excited about. Alternative comics. It's growing every year. He's putting out more series every month. I think they're only going to grow bigger and bigger. It's a slow process, but I think Peter Semeny has a great plan. He's doing great things for the indie community. I love the price point. And finally, I'm actually pretty excited about the Indiegogo stuff. They're a little bit expensive, but it's great seeing some of my some people that have been blacklisted from the industry and aren't getting opportunities, making their own opportunities and making great books. I love what Brett Smith's doing. I love what Tim Lim's doing. Doug Rance. I'm a big supporter of Mitch Breitweiser as well. So I think that's all exciting. And I think it's only good for the industry. I think they're going to be able to push on the direct market eventually. Someone's going to take a chance on these guys because they're all making money. And they're showing there's a market for their books. And I think that's only going to do good things for everybody.
You mean as long as they pass Ethan's purity test?
Well, we're going to talk about that later, guys. Come on.
Shots fired.
Shot fired. Shot fired.
We're gonna get to that eventually, Pele. But before then, we got a question from our viewers. Daniel says, "What's your guys' take on webcomics? If you're talking about Comicsology, I love it. I'm in the Philippines. It's hard for me to get hold of back issues and key trades and things like that. It's really expensive to get shipping, so it's a godsend for me. Comicsology Unlimited is great. If you're talking about web comics, like the exclusive stuff, like the stuff they don't feel like printing, it's not really my bag.
Yeah.
Lance, what's your take on web comics, buddy?
Oh, me?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're the Lance, right?
Sorry, I missed that. My experience has been when Marvel had the Infinite Comics, which I really didn't like, and then they came up with the miniseries comics that they were doing for a while, and the art usually was pretty rushed, and yeah, it just seems like an inferior product to me. And then it'll come out in print eventually, and then it typically didn't look that good to me. I read the Daredevil Punisher webcomic. I didn't like it. So yeah, I'm not fond of them.
Well, Daniel clarified he's talking about stuff like Tapas and Webtoons.
Oh, Webtoons. I don't follow Webtoons at all.
My take on it is that I mute them off my tweets because they spam my tweets. And when it comes to webcomics, unless I somehow miraculously follow you and I actually know who you are on the internet, I don't really give it a second look.
You're thinking of Toons Mag, which is slightly different than Webtoons.
No, Webtoons has spammed my Twitter.
They did?
Toons Mag is the one that was spamming mine.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't know what Webtoons are.
One I think is just a regular bot, and another's actually a service.
Oh, you think one of them's just like spamming you off of the server?
Yeah, the Toons Mag one is that account is nothing but a bot account.
Yeah, that's an SJW. It's basically an SJW web comic. You know, that's like really, really
political?
toxic, annoying.
Wait. You're telling me a real NPC?
Yes,
a robot.
But I blocked them. I blocked them so they don't attach themselves to my tweets. So
wow.
For stuff like Webtoons, and I'm not familiar with Tapas, but I know that that Neon and Geeky Sparkles over at Clownfish have done some stuff with Webtoons, and I know that Fabian Nicieza went over and started doing his Outrage book at Webtoons. I've never bothered to look at it. I hate digital comics, like despise digital comics.
Ooh, shot fired.
I hate it. So I don't care if Claremont was back doing mid-'80s X-Men, and if I had to read it on my fucking iPad, I'd skip it. If I can't hold it in my hand, I don't read it. I just don't care. So
show me your floppies.
Yeah. So
some of your trades.
It's not an issue of liking or disliking the content of Webtoons. I hate the format. So
you don't like the delivery mechanism.
I don't like the delivery method. Yeah. So I'm not interested in it, and I'm going to skip it. It doesn't matter if it could be a perfect series, and I don't care if I can't hold it in my hand.
You're more into physical copy than digital.
So, with Comicsology, I have the unlimited service, like I said, because, I'm in the Philippines. It's hard for me to get stuff.
Yeah.
I have so many comics on there that I haven't read that I don't have time for another digital service, to be completely honest. That's why, if DC Universe was offered down here, I wouldn't get it because I don't have time.
It's too much money.
I enjoy the DC Universe. I enjoy digital comics from time to time, but what I like about DC Universe is that you can just like Comicsology, you know how you can scroll panel through panel? You can do that on your TV. So I'll be laying there in bed reading a comic and just with my remote going.
Okay, so that would be interesting.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
So just imagine the panel being your entire TV screen. while you're
Well, that
laying
would
in bed.
A lot easier
Yeah.
to read.
Now,
Yeah,
it's
I'm doing
pretty
that
nice.
new issues there too.
now I do know that with Webtoons, I know that a number of years ago, a lot of the people that were doing Webtoons a number of years ago are the ones that have kind of moved into the industry, and a lot of the people that were in the industry have slowly started making their way over to like Webtoons. A lot of the current weirdos, the Tumblristas,
Oh,
they a lot of them all did either some or a lot of stuff with Webtoons years ago. But it was a very okay. You know how there are basically like 500 different goddamn books out on the shelf every month these days, instead
yeah.
of like 200 or 300. That's kind of the way Webtoons was. It's almost an entirely separate market, with a shit ton of variety.
Yeah.
So I just I don't know. I don't get the appeal of digital anything. So
All right, so obviously you're too old to understand the question.
Well, no.
Lance,
Well, no.
what's your thoughts on Webtoons? I'm teasing, Doc. I'm teasing.
Yeah.
Lance, what are your thoughts, buddy? You got any thoughts?
I'm not familiar with Webtoons.
All right, let's go. Tevi, do you have anything to add before we push it over to Pele, the brick and mortar owner?
Yeah. I'm not really into Webtoon myself, but I do like it. Well, digital is a very 50-50 shot with me. I'm more into trades because, well, as you can see, I'm more into trade. But digital, I do like to do reissue digital sometimes, like Comicsology. Like, I don't own Comicsology Unlimited, but I do buy at the issues on whenever it's 2%. I buy on Comicsology because, well, I told me to get comics here, but it's expensive to buy comics, like the physical store. So, digitally, I'm more 50-50 on that. Like, I do read comics digitally sometimes, but I usually trade in physical. Because trades I like more in physical than digital. Like the DC unit I do use for comics. I also use the DC unit for Young Justice, obviously. You get to only play it now. You can watch Young Justice. Also, there's another old show in that app. Marvel, I don't use Marvel Unlimited at all because Marvel Unlimited seems like a ripoff for what I've seen. It's not bad, but it's just questionable.
Marvel Unlimited exists to get people to go and buy their trades.
Yeah, something like that.
Because it'll give you 4 or 5 out of a 6-issue story arc and miss one right in the middle.
What?
So that you have to go out and buy the trade. It's
Or
fucking
it exists to just push digitals that otherwise would not sell.
Yeah, Silk Story
There's
with that.
There's like full runs on there. There's like every issue of Fantastic Four up to the 4-Dan slot on Marvel Unlimited.
So
okay, guys.
Used to miss a lot of issues mid story arc. It'd miss one here and one there, so you'd have to go out and either buy it or buy the trade.
All right, so from our chat, Dominic Powell says webcomics appeal to a wide array of genres for different people. You have some good webcomics like Spinneret and Pulse, to name a few. From Webtoons, I'm currently reading Unordinary and the Uniques. I agree, however, that Webtoons may need to rein in on the large variety of titles to be a manageable level, so they won't be cluttered. I agree with that. There's way too much. It's too crowded, and I can't even tell what's good. And nothing has buzzed that I can tell with a lot of that stuff. Now, Pele, you own your own store. Everything I assume you sell is physical. What do you think of Webtoons?
I hate it. Let it just die. No. Everything's got its place, and I get a lot of people, that like to talk about it in the shop and stuff. Oh, do you read such and such? Do you read this? What do you think about that? And I'm like, if it's not on paper, I don't care.
So you're like Stan Lee.
I like the physical copy in my hand. And not just a trade. I like to have that floppy in my hand. So
Yeah.
it's just one of those things. I mean, I've never felt comfortable reading comics on a phone. Or even a small tablet, like a 7-inch or 8-inch tablet, something like that. I got an iPad. I don't know if I mentioned that before, but I got an iPad Pro just to try to read webcomics, and it does help. And also, I use it for my Comixology and Marvel Unlimited, and it does help. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, it's still not the same as a physical book. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's the boomer in me, but I just. They're fine. They have their audience, that's great. But I think that, like you were mentioning, I think that they still haven't defined their presence yet. And there are too many. It's a very crowded field of mediocrity from what I can see right now, with some shining lights in there. But they're kind of crowded out by the mediocrity, because it's like when YouTube, and it's gotten better. YouTube's gotten better for this lately, but you have so many crap channels that it's really hard to find the people that are making the really good content. So I'm sure you're probably running into this too, because you're thinking critical content is fantastic, but then you're also competing eyeballs, with some guy, talking about comics while he's, changing the oil in his Camaro, so
wow,
it's, I'm being, I'm being a little hyperbolic there, but it's, but it's in the same ballpark. They really need to kind of curate a lot of it and kind of separate the different classifications a bit more to really, I think, really pull ahead and to get the notice that will make them, successful.
So I think what you're saying is it needs to have a defined market with winners to show people what they aspire to reach an audience, because right now nothing is separating itself as better or worse.
Would it be like MySpace music, when everybody's Ben Brothers had a band, had 5 songs on MySpace, and nobody cared because it was like, I don't have time to listen to 10,000 bands. I don't.
Crowded.
So Daniel, I hope we covered that question for you. I feel like we went at it several different angles, but let's move on to our next topic, which is going to be the rumored cancellation of Vertigo. If you haven't watched my my video on in my signature series for Vertigo Comics, I highly suggest you check it out after this live stream. It's very informative. It'll catch you up on almost everything that happened. Lance, I know you're kind of an indie guy. Vertigo almost basically Image basically stole Vertigo style, and then almost everything indie stole Vertigo style, and it kind of became associated with them. What do you think about what happened with Vertigo and Andy Corey?
It's what is happening to it right now is long overdue. What happened to it 10-15 years ago was a shame. Vertigo used to be a great publisher or section of publishing, and used to have great titles, great art. And it was one of those things where I would take chances on Vertigo titles all the time. And the last 2 or 3 iterations of it were just god awful, and there's no quality control. And the last time they really had a series of merit would have been, Scalped was good, DMZ was good.
Fables was amazing.
Fables was very popular.
But I like American Vampire.
Yeah.
I liked the beginning of that. I thought it fell off a cliff once they started sending the vampires to space.
I only got through like the
why go to space? Volume. That's weird.
Hellblazer was good until Pete Milligan wrote it, and then he killed it.
And then it went to the main DC universe.
But what do you think about the current Vertigo? Are you surprised this happened? You know, is it disappointing to you? Are you glad it's gone?
It didn't serve a purpose to anybody, in my opinion. It was like I didn't understand what its market was, like who it was supposed to appeal to, and
It was supposed to spread wokeness. It was supposed to spread wokeness, man.
I read that Darwin Cook's Lone Bad comic came from that one of those iterations of Vertigo, the recent ones, which was Twilight Children. And I swear that guy had never did anything bad until he did a Vertigo title, and it was just like, I don't know what it used to be a unique kind of thing, and now I just didn't see the appeal of the last 8 years of it, especially the Gerard Way Young Animal line seemed completely terrible and pointless to me. It was like graphic novels that were kiddie, but they had adult themes or something. I don't know. It was just weird.
Mm-hmm. So Doc, I mean, I think you heard kind of my part or my thesis there that the indie comics basically stole Vertigo's style and, you know, kind of their cool factor, and it seemed like they never recovered. Do you think it was wise to try and go to the woke arm of DC Comics, or should they just have let it die already? You know, is it cool?
Honestly, they should have let it die.
Why?
But why? Because there was no point in it. It was not unique anymore.
It was
Vertigo
definitely
was unique. But when you can get the exact same thing from when you can get the exact same thing from 17 other publishers, what's unique about it anymore?
Well, what I think made Vertigo good though was the editors pushing the talent. When you had Preacher and things like that, the editors were really hands-on and they worked with those teams and they developed the talent. You don't see that happen at Image.
Certainly. Image didn't give a shit. They wanted a ready-made product. But no, a lot of I guess there was a lot of internal changes to the way that the Vertigo imprint worked, and when it comes to rights and this and that, the
creators own the film and TV rights.
Yeah, and they started losing that. So what is the point of publishing through Vertigo when you can do the exact same? Okay, you don't get as much editorial help, so you've got to hire your own editor. But when you can keep all your film and TV rights and just publish through Image and publish the exact same concept book, there's or through Boom or through Black Mask
or Image.
I mean, what is the point of Vertigo if all of the uniqueness is gone and you can't have the fucking rights? Okay, you could do something cool with Swamp Thing, yay! You could do something cool with some other Z-list DC character,
like Garbage Man.
Other than that,
like Constantine.
Yeah, hey, let's do an amazing Kite Man series.
Kite Man.
Great. But other than that, I mean, other than being able to sometimes play in the land of misfit toys portion of DC's universe, there's no point in it. There's nothing unique about it as a publisher anymore, and it's actually a worse job for you.
That's
so
sad.
it's yes, I guess Ethan said something about how, you know, if you work for Vertigo, DC or Warner Brothers would automatically pick up the first year of the rights for anything you did, and then the second year they renew the option, and then they do it a third year, and then after that you got the rights. So okay, that's okay.
That sounds very, very greedy and sounds very, very scamish.
But it's not good. Whereas you can go to, at that point, for the first 3 years after you've produced something, the rights automatically stick with you don't have a choice where they go. They go to Warner Brothers, or they release them back to you, but they have to elect to release them. Instead of being able to, you come up with something cool at Image, and if it's really cool, maybe you get a multiple studios bidding on it, and then you can play them off each other to get the biggest royalty you can out of it. Versus DC, where you are stuck in a without any other options. They give you a flat rate for those first couple of years that they option it, and so why go to DC? Why
The thing that I think led to the decline of Vertigo is that most of the early titles were based on the British invasion. So it's very easy to just snatch up everybody from 2000 AD and give them a Vertigo title. Yes. Then they lost all of them, and you had a couple good American ones like Brian Wood, Brian K. Vaughan were successful for them. But they didn't have a magazine they could just pilfer all the talent from anymore. So
and Vertigo itself would not supposed to be in DC. Vertigo would be its own separate thing to begin. We had Sandman would have made a new game in that was awesome. Vertigo. We had Fable would have made in Vertigo. We had Hellblade made in Vertigo. Swamp Thing made in Vertigo. Like all the good stuff with Vertigo would made except for DC Image. But when the DC New 52, they cut Vertigo Divine in half. Like then Hellblade was one of the main universe, and now Vertigo went to hell. Which sucks because
well, I mean, all the names you mentioned again were British invasion writers.
Yeah, with more.
Even the second rate ones like Pete Milligan were British. From there, you had
most of them.
I don't know. I don't think we'll ever see another influx of talent like the British invasion in comics again. I think that was.
You had the closest second choice you had was the kind of what I refer to as the Cleveland invasion, which was just a bunch of white guys named Brian that in the early 2000s, because Bendis, Vaughn, Azzarello, they were all from. It was a bunch of white dudes from Cleveland
and Scotland.
Who?
Scotland. You know, like Mark Miller, Grant Morrison.
Yeah, but those were all the same guys from that British invasion. From
what's the UK invasion? Then, if we call it Scotland, United Kingdom, whatever, they all worked for 2000 AD. They all ended up on Vertigo.
Yeah, part of UK from geography.
Yeah, they were all those were all the guys, but and they all started at DC in the 90s.
Yeah,
because Ellis was there. Ellis did a little bit for Marvel, but mostly for DC and Wildstorm. Miller with Grant Morrison on Flash, and then the Authority.
Mark Miller was on Judge Dredd with Grant Morrison. And then moved over.
Mark Miller also on Flash and Ultimates from Marvel, but then Ultimate Universe, the Ultimate one get blown up.
But yeah, so there was the Cleveland invasion of the early 2000s with a bunch of white dudes named Brian. But ever since then, there hasn't been much. There hasn't been a major influx of talent from anywhere. They tried to do the Portland invasion, which was basically Bendis trying to redo what he did with opening the door for a bunch of white dudes named Brian from Cleveland. When he got to, at Marvel, he tried to do it after he moved to Portland, tried to do the exact same thing.
And Wagner and Grant would have been kind of precursors to that too. I would mention those two.
Yeah,
those were great. Those were great times. Just even thinking about those names. It's a shame. They've all basically kind of either used up their, kind of went through their ideas, or they're sick of the industry and left.
They probably ran out of ideas. They're burned out, which is sad. Because I think Bendy's kind of a good story. The problem is, I keep saying to the other, and I don't hate Bendy, but I think Bendy only one book. If he puts an energy and heart and soul into one book, he writes great. If he doesn't, if he goes lazy, if he goes stupid, that's where it all falls apart. He just move on to the next thing and not finish the story.
All right, so let's get back on the Vertigo. So Bats, what are your thoughts on the rumors that it's going to be shut down? And Andy Corey being fired. Do you think Andy Corey deserves to be fired?
I don't think he's doing. I think he's not doing his best job. So in that sense, I don't believe anyone should be fired. I think that sucks.
Yeah.
But because then you lose your livelihood. But I think it's like he should be reprimanded to the fullest. And if firing is that's his reprimand, yeah, fine, screw it. With Vertigo, I don't know anyone who's reading any Vertigo.
No one's reading it.
I don't.
Me neither.
I don't hear anyone when it's like, who's the audience of the modern Vertigo? The audience is YouTubers to make fun of it on YouTube.
That's sad.
It's like no one's like, oh, I can't wait for the next border town. Isn't that going to be exciting? No one cares. I mean, I bought, was it Goddess Mode?
God, yeah.
Just to make fun of it on YouTube with like 68 subscribers at the time.
Yeah, you remember what I said about that? I had people that it's the only comic I've ever seen that people hate bought it. When I went to order it, I was just going to order 2 or 3 copies, for the the 6.5% women that I have that wanted it. But I was just going to order 2 or 3 copies, and it's like, oh no, I gotta have it. You gotta get it. I gotta tear it up. Then I'm gonna bleed on it. Then I'm gonna take it out and I'm gonna piss all over the cover. I'm like, dude, whatever you do with it, that's your own business. Your fetish is your fetish. I don't need to be be with that.
Yeah,
that's disgusting.
But
I read it too, and I made fun of it, and that was it. And nothing ever came of it, and so
the only book that actually fits in modern Vertigo is American Carnage.
Oh yeah, but
and had they built their line around Brian Hill, it would have been fine. But instead, they built it around Andy Corey's weird affinity for all the people he crushed on whenever he was with Comics Alliance.
I know the website. Isn't that website that's run by idiots?
It's dead.
I'll plug Wes's video. Go watch Patient Zero.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Plug.
Yeah, seriously. But yeah, no. Corey needs to be fired. He's already ruined 2 he's literally ruined 2 companies. He ruined Comics Alliance. I mean, granted, it was shit to begin with, but regardless, he ran that into the ground, and then he got hired at DC and ran Vertigo into the ground. Now he's over at Young Animal, also at DC, and he's gonna fucking run that into the ground.
So you don't believe the rumor that he's been fired as well?
I don't. Okay. He's already fired. He's already
took down.
He's already, he's basically handling the day-to-day stuff so that Gerard Way can actually get the book start going out again. Because the reason why Young Animal kind of got shelved for a little while was because Gerard Way wanted to go and still make music. So he didn't have time to run a comic imprint and make music at the same time. But whenever they get somebody else to run the comic imprint so that all he has to do is create for it, then all of a sudden they can bring Young Animal back. That's the whole point of it. So Andy Corey's over there to handle all the day-to-day work for Gerard Way.
So Pele, with this modern Vertigo, they only had like 6 or 7 titles, and it was just flooded with controversy. Between initially, I think it was Robbie Rodriguez, the artist on Goddess Mode, sent out the pictures of his anus to Ethan Van Sciver on Twitter.
What?
And you had the sexual assault allegations against Eric Esquivel, which basically got Border Town shut down early, which Warren Ellis took the art team from that for some reason. And then Second Coming got canceled before it issued one comic, one issue. So that's a lot of controversy for a very small line of books.
And Safer Sex got announced and is never going to get released.
Yeah.
What? Wait,
Yeah,
I don't know what that is.
So yeah, it oh god. I think that at the beginning people were kind of excited to possibly get to see some of the old Vertigo magic, to see some of the old Vertigo, adult.
It has to end. I mean, if you
suspense.
started with Swamp Thing and ended with this, look at what happened. Like,
That's sad.
Well, let me finish. Let me finish. So people were kind of excited off the bat, and then they got to see Border Town, and then they got to see, Goddess Mode, and and they're like, what the hell is this? This isn't what Vertigo is. Why did they have to ruin that imprint with this bullshit? And that's what happened. As soon as people realized that the bait and switch was on, that this was not going to be what Vertigo traditionally was to begin with, they were done. People were like, oh, don't want anything involved with that. That's not Vertigo. That's like, they should have started something else, like called themselves, another imprint like called Woke Comics or something like that. And just
What?
I was serious. I'm being actually serious about it. They could have had like DC Woke.
And that would be a title for an imprint.
They could have had a DC Woke, and just put all those Woke comics underneath that imprint, and they would have had a better chance of success rather than this bait and switch where they tried to ride on the back of Vertigo's previous success. So, I mean, we still had people that were still buying American Carnage. It was always the best selling, at least in my shop. It was always the best selling of all the titles.
Unfortunately, they released it, I believe, 4th, and by then you'd already had the Robbie Rodriguez Goddess Mode controversy. You'd already had Border Town was already, I think, shut down because of
the Jesus Christ story going on Vertigo.
Yeah, but it was the 4th one, and basically they had killed any audience that American Carnage had to begin with. A lot of people had already given up on Vertigo.
That sucks because Vertigo used to be great. I want to share my thought on Vertigo for a sec. I thought my thought on Vertigo. Sorry to interrupt, but what Vertigo is saying, I'm sad Vertigo may be ending. It's a dream, but it's true. Because Vertigo used to be a great imprint. I remember before. They had Constantine, they had Swamp Thing, they had Lucifer. That was on Vertigo. But before it got shown, you could win that imprint. We had Sandman. Like Vertigo was great, and to see it all fall apart, that's depressing. And
just move on to the next person, Wes.
Okay, Paley.
Go ahead, just move to the next person. I can't finish, so go ahead.
All right, well, that's fine. So in the comments, we've got Fiona Wolf says, and trash comics that people didn't want to read. Just because a character is a whammon doesn't mean it will engage me as a whammon. I actually like stories. These modern titles were boring. Rip Vertigo. I think that sums it up quite nicely. So one thing that, I think we all kind of thought, well, maybe was replacing Vertigo was DC Black Label, but it was going to have not just, the mature reading audience. It was going to have the best creators on the best DC characters on Elseworlds type stories to kind of have free reign and do what they want. It's been a really big success. Obviously there was the initial controversy about the Batawang with Batman Damned, but that issue sold out at distribution. It's never been reprinted. It looks like Last Night on Earth is going to be a huge success. Superman Year One likely will be a huge success with Frank Miller. But just recently they announced that the new Joker Harley Criminal Sanity is coming to DC Black Label. But this book doesn't feature an all-star creative team. In fact, it features a writer, Cami Garcia, that's never written a comic book, to my knowledge. She's about to publish a DC YA Raven book in July.
Okay.
And
It'll be so cool. It'll be so wonderful. You know, they'll have like the whole Joker and Harley relationship, and you know, she'll have Ivy coming as a guest star, and everybody will be so happy. It'll be wonderful. You just don't know, man. You don't know.
So it appears something has changed, obviously, with because when DC Black Label was announced, it was best created, best writers, best artists. And the art team's actually pretty good if they're not all that well known. It basically has a pinup and cover artist as the main artist. But what do you think happened? Do you think the Batwing controversy caused a change in direction for DC Black Label, and we're not going to get this amazing Vertigo-like imprint with more with the DC characters we all love? Do you think that's what's happening, Pele?
Yeah, I do. There was a time when you got your own books due to success, and you got you got a chance once you played in the minors, and you did some backup stories, and you were in the industry for a while, and you learned how comics work, and you learned how you learned these characters, and you paid your dues. And now no, they just anybody that comes along that they believe will kind of cause some type of, I don't know if it's just for the controversy factor, or they're just they're cheap. Maybe it's because they're cheap. I don't know. But these creators, I don't understand. They're not. In some ways, DC is regressing.
I agree.
Every single month, they're regressing, and after a point in which, it seemed like they were catching on. It seemed like they were trying to fix the problems they were having, and then ever since around the beginning of this year, they just decided, screw it. We don't care anymore. And they just, they give titles to anybody. They don't really seem to care about the quality. Their editorial's almost as bad as Marvel's now. Almost, not quite, almost. And where Marvel seems to be picking up the slack a bit and seems to be trying to fix their problems, as far as the creators and their editorial staff, although they're still absolute shit. But the DC isn't, and I don't think they really think I really don't think they care. So I don't think there's anywhere they think they can go right now. So it's sad. It really is, because we could see it now with King. We could, you have Tomasi, who's done a really solid job on Detective. So I know it's possible, but no matter how many issues they lose off of subscriptions, they lose off of sales, no matter how many, they charge on forward, doubling down on whatever decision that they came to 6 months ago. To won't change course. So I just really don't know at this point. I don't think that they're going to right the ship until something drastic happens. So they're just going to fail upwards, I guess. They're going to allow people to fail upwards in the company.
Oh, it is 2019.
Yeah. So the way comics work nowadays. So Tevi, do you have any thoughts on the Joker Harley criminal sanity announcement?
Yeah, about that. I thought Joker Harley Quinn series, and I don't know how I feel about that, because boy, I can tell if I want to be on it, by the way, and I don't know how to feel about it, because it's interesting, kind of ham-elected type, but and that didn't make sense of Harley Quinn kid. Harley Quinn kid, yes, she's obsessive, yes, she's nuts, and yes, she's psychotic, yes, she depends on the Joker now, but she's both living the Joker, but having her I found the Joker. What? I don't get this story. It doesn't make any sense. I get an outdoor story. I'm fine with that, but since I know what did he do with Black Label? I thought Black Label was mature, dark, gritty, edgy. I thought that would be Black Label. But now it's going back. It's regressing back into a normal imprint, having the edgy dark that we promise.
Well,
Why?
Black Label was never supposed to be adult. That was sort of like what people anticipated, but that's not what DC ever said. DC said it would be a prestige label. So what's so prestigious about a brand new writer with an unknown artist?
Unknown
What's so
background.
prestigious there? Maybe the format's prestigious. I don't know. It's going to be.
Oh, he's not unknown, dude. You can look him up on the internet. He's even said so on the comment.
Oh wow, yeah, okay, yeah. He's done.
Yeah, he did 9 issues of Jennifer Blood, so that's prestigious.
Never heard it.
I'm impressed.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
If you haven't went out and read the announcement that had some of the details, basically Harley Quinn is going to be Clarice Starling from The Silent Story, and then Joker is going to be like John Wayne Gacy. But specifically, the author Cami Garcia says that Harley Quinn is the only person in the world smart enough to investigate Joker and catch him. So there's no Batman in this story. Bats, what do you think about that?
So I'm curious as to why like books like Damned and pretty much everything prior to this announcement, why this book needs to be 9 issues, and they have at a prestige format, which is going to be like $5.99. Do they actually believe that we're going to buy a $6 book 9 times?
No.
Unless they're going to
single person ask about it. I've not had a single person ask about this.
I literally didn't know it existed until Wes's video.
I
I'm not
seen
kidding.
an announcement. I seen an announcement for it, and it was just like, I think Ozchris did it. Yeah, Ozchris did an announcement for it, and it's like Harley Quinn Joker story, Black Label. I was like, boring.
Yeah, I miss it much.
A Joker Harley Quinn story? I'm shocked. You know,
Should it have Batman or not?
but yeah,
And Harley's supposed to be the smartest person in the world. You know,
Smartest investigator.
her IQ,
Yeah,
her IQ is about like warm milk.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And she's bad at her job. I mean, her first case, she gets sucked in and becomes a villain.
Okay, but this isn't that Harley Quinn. This is a new Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
That's
So
Clarice Starling.
the idea,
from
I
Silence
think
of the
I'll
Lambs.
get behind a story with the Gotham characters without a Batman. I think that's an interesting idea. But to tell it through Harley Quinn being like the smartest investigator, and if it's GCPD, I just don't buy it. Because what about Detective Bullock? Detective Bullock is second best to Harley Quinn.
Where's Gordon?
Well, Gordon's
I wouldn't say Bullock's a great investigator, though. He's kind of like he's just like kind of like a rough
what
around the
about
edges.
Renee Montoya? It's like
She's a flatfoot. I mean, they're flatfoots. They're good detectives, but they're not anything special. They're not.
I think where a lot of these titles like this fall on their face is that to be able to write about the smartest person in the world, you at least have to have an above average intelligence.
Yeah,
and I don't think a lot of these writers do have the intelligence to write these stories.
A big problem that I have with more recent modern Harley Quinn is everyone forgets her origins, or at least just pretend it never happened. Everyone's like, well, she's a psychologist. She's super smart. No, she had sex with her teachers to get a degree. Go read Mad Love by Paul Dini and Bruce Timm, and even in a Batman Adventures comic, they got it right to the edge where they can be like, yeah, she cheated her way through med school.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And everyone wants to forget that because Harley Quinn is LOL so random. She's so funny. Isn't she smart? She can beat up the Trinity. She can beat Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman in a fight because she's perfect. No, dude, she's a crap. she's a crap modern character, and what makes her a good character is that she is like tragedy and comedy
Severely broken.
as one character that.
Yeah, she's a petty
severely
criminal.
broken.
She's a pretty petty criminal.
Yeah, that's all she is.
What makes her sell is the fact that she's a tragic, beautiful moron.
Angel?
She's a good character that bounces off the Joker, is what she is. And anything further than that, to me, really has no merit. And so, well, can I buy into a Elseworld story where she's a detective? Yes, but I feel like I need someone worth writing that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I need someone who can I trust to write a good detective story with
I
Harley Quinn.
Ben is gonna let it.
Like, I don't know who this. What's her name? Gabby
Tammy
Rivera.
Gabby Rivera.
Whatever her
Tammy
name
Garcia.
is.
Oh.
Whatever. Cammy Garcia, Gabby Rivera. They're all the same to me.
Oh, that's racist.
Jesus.
Whoa!
That wasn't
so
racist. It was
racist,
mildly
dude.
sexist.
Before I'm monetized, son.
Shot fired.
It's just
Hey, if it's any consolation, I'm just sitting here looking at some girl that took her top off on a Six Flags ride, and they wouldn't give her a picture. She took her top off on the roller coaster. They wouldn't give her a picture at the end. She also lost her top. It was really funny.
yeah, I guess that did come off mildly racist. But no, it was just
Yeah, I'm a Spanish Jew. I'm a Spanish Jew, and I was offended.
Yeah,
No, I'm just-
I was making more of a joke about
YA
wham and YA, right? I would need. I feel like that story's more fitted for Brian Azzarello, who wrote like 100 Bullets, versus whatever the hell he's doing in Batman Damned, because I don't know what the hell's going on in Batman Damned.
You also Ben.
I think like Ed Brubaker or even Greg Rucka have a better standing to write a Harley Quinn private investigator or whatever. I think that's a much better idea, but this Gabby Rivera, Cammy Garcia, whatever her name is, does anyone care?
So,
The only person,
Really.
you make
I
a
think
good
the only
point.
person who cares is Matthew Mayhew
Uh,
to tell you that he's gonna melt your skepticism.
it's Mike Mayhew. He's a terrific.
Whatever, Mike, Matt, they're all the same too.
But
Oh.
make a good point, because Black Label is supposed to be featuring the very best writers that was in the press release, but doesn't seem like that's happening. So, Doc, you had never even heard of this until you saw my video. Did I make a salient point? Was I in the right ballpark?
Yes, but at the same time, you can also argue that Black Label was, I think Zach kind of made this point too, that it was for all the best artists and writers, and Kelly Sue DeConnick.
Yeah,
Look, the point is that there was already talent that's, quote unquote talent choices that stuck out like a sore thumb from the day of the announcement.
Yes, I also want to mention one of the original the writers announced was the screenwriter from 12 Years a Slave. He had never written a comic book to my knowledge, and I think he still has his series coming out, which is going to be 7 issues. So she isn't the first one.
Yes, but I'm sorry, he still has actually accomplished something anywhere. Other than like 3,000 "Can I speak to your manager?" duck face selfies, that's all Kelly Sue has ever really accomplished. She's never sold anything. She's never made anything.
Planet.
She's never made anything that's sold. So, at least the guy that wrote 12 Years a Slave has actually made something that made money.
And why Oscar?
I give Oscars all of the credence that I do Eisners. They're useless. They're useless
Self-flagellant.
well, more like self-filleting awards that an industry gives itself. Sorry, I don't care.
I agree with that.
But so, there was already decisions on creators that stuck out like a sore thumb. And I honestly, I think Black Label has quickly become Elseworlds. They got rid of Elseworlds, around the time of New 52, and I think Black Label was basically just Elseworlds, but in magazine format instead of. Or I mean, wait. Well, first of all, are they still doing magazine format for anything other than the Damned?
I have no idea.
Year one will be.
Okay.
Cool.
So some of them are, some of them aren't.
So
Okay.
it's shot.
Okay, so I wasn't sure. So other than maybe a format issue, it's just Elseworlds again. And Mike Mayhew, I forgot the dude ever did interiors. Wes asked me whenever he was doing his research. I'm like, I don't think so. And then apparently he has. I apparently he was always working for the company that I wasn't buying from at the time. I thought he was only a cover artist, but apparently he does interiors. Cool. Great.
He's done books over a 26-year career, he told me.
Okay, cool. I mean, he's probably just not a very fast interior artist.
No, he's a good.
Yeah. But so it looks like that it's just I don't see the point in this book. I mean, I guess it doesn't have any need to exist any more than Batman Damn does, but I guess that's the whole point of every Elseworlds thing, unless it's its existence is just it validates itself by existing because it can exist. That's kind of the thing with Elseworlds.
It seems similar to what Marvel did in the 80s with their Epic line, I would say.
Epic line or their Marvel graphic novels.
Or Ultimate.
No, Ultimates was ongoings. They were all ongoings
too, right?
And a cohesive universe.
Yeah, these are all.
They got blown up by Ultimatum.
Honestly, it seems like DC has kind of had an inferiority complex with Marvel for a very, very long time. And this is another. They're still trying to get a replication of what Marvel did with their Ultimate line in the early 2000s. They tried it first with the All-Star. No, the All-Star line. And only one of those books ever even came out.
Also, Superman.
Oh no, I'm sorry, two. All-Star Batman and All-Star Superman both came out, but All-Star Wonder Woman, I think Adam Hughes is still working on that, to be honest. We'll get it somewhere in 2029.
They pulled off the Earth One stuff.
I like Earth One.
Okay, hey guys, we're gonna have to wrap this one up. I'm gonna give Pele the last word. Just this topic because there's something we need to cover.
No, go.
So Pele, do you think that DC is going to be able to charge a $6 or $7 premium for a book, for 9 issues of a book written by Kami Garcia?
No, of course not. I think that if it was like a 3-issue non-prestige, it probably would have been fine. But this is really insulting. That they think that this is what the customers want. Again, it's more of DC backsliding, more of DC not really being aware of what who their customers are and what the market is right now. So it's going to be, if it sells more than 15,000 copies on the number one, I'll be impressed, because people aren't going to drop $7. I think it's $6.99.
Yeah, the magazine is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're not going to, people aren't going to drop that kind of money on this shit. So, I've not received any buzz about it. Probably not even going to order it. So,
Yeah.
I just don't care.
Yeah.
That's going to wrap up the Harley or the Joker Harley book.
It's terrible. So
I agree. So and check out my video if you're unaware of it and you want to get some details on the issues that I had with it.
Most people don't invoke the name of John Wayne Gacy when they try to sell a comic. I'll just say that.
Generally not.
Preview for the video. So,
if anybody listening to this is not watching Wes's videos, you're really missing out. He does some excellent work breaking this stuff down.
You are correct.
Yeah.
So, right now on social media, there's like a weird going back and forth, and I know we have several points of view from the panel here, so we're going to hit it real fast. Pats, I know you kind of got in on it a little bit. So what's going on with EVS and his friend Mike Miller?
Ethan is the thought police, and I'm over it. Ethan has become what he claimed to hate. Ethan is just Republican Mark Wade. He just tries to control the industry from his point of view and from his ego, from his side of the spectrum, and that's not what it is. Comicsgate was a consumer movement, not a Ethan movement, and he's pretty much destroyed Comicsgate since he got there because he's got a bunch of sycophants and a bunch of weird followers who don't even buy comics. They, like Jeremy always says, show me your floppies, and if you can't show your floppies, you ain't a comic book fan.
All right, so Doc, what do you have to say about that?
I think Mike Miller is the Christian Dan Slott. He built an audience on his work and then doesn't need to be here moralizing about it. I'm here it is a customer movement. And I give Ethan a lot of shit about a lot of stuff, but he's right on this. I don't follow fucking creators to hear them moralize to me. You know what? They have to be held to a higher standard. If there's going to be a lot of Christians and conservatives and Republicans and everything in Comicsgate, and that's fine. But the creators do not exist here. We do not support them because of that. If the customers want to talk about that stuff, fine. But the creators shouldn't. It's not their job. They don't build a following and then use that bully pulpit to moralize the people. We bitch about it with Dan Slott. We bitch about it with Gail Simone. So don't accept it just because it's something that you happen to agree with this time because it's coming from a Christian. No, it's not fucking cool. Plus the fact that, you know what, you want to be Christian, that's fine. That's great. I don't care. I'm an atheist. Don't give a shit. Mike has a tendency of sounding more like the Westboro Baptist fucking church. And there's no room for that. And additionally, Ethan, Mike was as much as I like his work, he was a middling no-name comic artist for a very, very long time that had a few decent runs that nobody remembered his name on. And he the fact that he's making a lot of money now on the creator side of Comicsgate is great. I'm happy for the man. I hope he keeps making money, and I hope his Lone Star is super successful. Not my bag, so I don't really care. But he doesn't get to use his. Ethan does not have any obligation to assist him and to signal boost him going forward. Hopefully, Mike has built his audience already. I'm cool with that.
But that's the thing. He wasn't trying to use Ethan to signal boost on this.
No,
Ethan jumped in and just with both feet.
He's not
And
using
like a
Ethan
dick.
jumped in a week later. A week later,
and
he
that's
posted that on June 1st, and then a week later, people are all upset about it. And I guess maybe a week later, after hearing about it for 7 days, he finally said something. Ethan
that's
is
fine.
not Comicsgate. He does not own the ideology of consumers want better comics.
No, he doesn't.
Is that Ethan has stolen a movement and made it his brand, and because he brought all his friends in, and it's like, oh, this is my brand. Oh no, you don't represent my brand anymore. Everyone who believes in having better comics represents Comicsgate. Comicsgate is not the Ethan Van Sciver show.
And it's also not the build your audience and then moralize to them. I don't follow Mike.
Well, if they don't like the moralizing, they can just stop buying.
Okay, then what the fuck is the difference between Mike Miller and Gail Simone or Dan Slott? Exactly what? No, there is no difference when you're when you're insulting the consumers.
He wasn't insulting the consumers.
Yes, he was. He's insulting gay people.
didn't.
The gay people are consumers. For Christ's
They
sake.
were not insult the gay people. He said pride is a sin. He didn't say that gay is a sin.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus Christ, guys. If you don't get the
What?
if you look, I
mean,
Pride is a sin. It's one of the 7 deadly sins. It's the point of it.
Proverbs 11.
He doesn't.
Pride.
Mark himself
leads
said that
astray.
he didn't understand why they would choose a deadly sin to name their movement after. He says that's silly. Why would you do that? Pride is not a good thing.
look, I've heard it. I've heard enough borderline homophobic shit out of Mike that's hidden behind religion, and that I have that his subtext was very easily implied there.
I think you're reading more into that than was there.
No, I'm not. I'm reading
that
exactly. I'm reading exactly what Mike intended.
It was June 1st.
Yeah.
It was a joke. It's like a joke. He literally even.
I don't
says
think it was a
Pride is
joke.
sin.
I don't think that's true. I don't think it was a
it
joke. I think
it was an edgy troll. That's all it was.
I'm going by what Mike said himself. He said, I don't understand why they named their movement after something that is not a good thing for somebody to be proud of. Being prideful is not something to be proud of.
Is all pride
that's
considered
all
a
on
sin, though?
perspective, not
Yeah, I
everyone.
don't get it. That's a different perspective point of view.
Some people might think pride's really a good thing, having pride.
Pride
Like
is
they always
perfectly
talk about
fine,
pride in
like-
your country and pride in. I mean,
Pride in your video game and pride in your comics.
Hey, it's all perspective. So here's my issue with it. I don't like people being the morality police, going around and when you say something they don't like, trying to censor you by making veiled threats of, well, it's going to be a long winter, if you keep saying stuff like this. If you don't like what he said, just ignore it. And if you don't want to associate with him anymore, don't bring him on your channel.
Mm-hmm.
Make something very benign, say, due to a difference of opinion, Mike Miller is no longer going to appear on my Comicsgate live channel. If you have any questions for further details, ask Mike, and then just leave it alone. I don't like that he's throwing him under the bus and trying to police his language. It bothers me. That's my point. That's my problem with it. What do you think about that?
As for Gail Simone, I don't have a problem with Gail. Gail can do whatever the hell she wants. I'm just not going to buy any of her books. And I tell other people, hey, I'm not going to carry them at my shop. I do the same thing with Perez. I do the same thing with Visaggio. It's like, I'm not going to carry their stuff. That's fine. You go do you. There's other shops out there you can buy it from. That's fine.
Okay.
I'm just not going to support their products.
I don't think it's a good look for Ethan to be blacklisting a handful of people since we've got Captain Cummings, Nurkish, John Della Rose, Doug TenNapel,
Let's let Doc
Tim
Lim
Lim.
respond.
Go ahead.
I
Doc.
kind of sent it to him.
I'm sorry, Doc. I apologize.
No, that's cool. Look, I agree with Wes. It should have been handled much more delicately than it was. And Ethan's a drama whore. I mean, we know this. So him acting like a drama whore is not at all surprising. Mike acting like a borderline homophobe, also not terribly surprising. And Mike deciding to hide it behind religion, not terribly surprising either. Again, I think that, you know what, I have my issues with the creative side have kind of taken over the banner and the role of ownership of Comicsgate. I have a problem with that. I've had a problem with that for a long fucking time. But as long as that's the world we're stuck with, I'm going to hold creators to a higher standard than I will customers. And Mike thought that he could act however the hell he wants and do the exact same shit that I think, Gail and others do. And I have a problem with them doing it. I have a problem with Mike doing it. I think I also have a problem with the way Ethan handled it. Nobody came out good here. Nobody's innocent. Everybody's an asshole here. And Mike started it by needing to make a stupid, edgy joke. And if it was me that made that joke, that's one thing. Because I'm not representing Comicsgate as a brand and trying to claim it as a brand.
Never been a brand.
Let Doc finish.
But I'm not trying to. Now, whether it should be a brand or not is irrelevant to the fact that we're stuck with that situation. So as a result, don't harm the brand. Don't act the same way and make it okay because we did it this time. Sorry, I'm still going to be the intellectual honesty sheriff of Comicsgate. And it wasn't cool when the pros were doing it in the industry and shitting on any portion of the readership, just because they were Christian or conservative. It's not cool when Mike does it just because they're gay. I don't care whether or not it's his religion. He's held to a higher standard because if he wants to own the Comicsgate label, own all that stuff as a brand, then you're going to have to be held to a higher standard than the consumer side.
Okay, Doc, thank you very much for that. I'm going to give Bats the last word on this, and we're going to let it go, and we're going to take the show home. Bats, we're running out of time, guys. I'm sorry. I know Bats was heavy in on this. He was the one that brought it to my attention. I'm going to give you last word, and then we're going to give our recommendations. We're going to do our sound off, and we're going to leave this topic behind. But it was important to discuss. Bats, what did you want to say? Last word.
Comicsgate should have never been a brand.
Agreed.
And that's what the root of the whole evil there is. I didn't agree when Vox Day did it, and then I even more disagreed when Ethan stole that from Vox Day when he said, "Oh, well, I've been making money off of it, and so now I win it in courts." And then the brand reverted to Ethan because Ethan has already been making money. And then we just had a downward spiral of, Ethan gatekeeping Comicsgate. And it's not what it is. And a lot of people say there's no gatekeeping, there's no leader, there's no committee. I took a picture with John Della Rose. He happened to walk into the comic book shop that I frequent and help out at.
Ooh.
And him and I had a conversation, and I said, "Hey, could I take a picture with you?" And I'm gonna post it on Twitter because I've been joking about I can't get kicked out of Comicsgate. And so I took a picture with John Della Rose and said, "Hey, am I kicked out of Comicsgate?" And who didn't need to say anything is Edwin Boya. He didn't need to say anything, but he came in and became the moral police and told me I can do this and I can do that, and there is no subcommittee to Comicsgate. Well, then why is there all these people who are only exclusive to Comicsgate now? The Ethan show, and I find that completely trash. Comicsgate is and always will be a consumer movement, and anything further than that is not Comicsgate. And I'm with Ash with it, calling it Neo Comicsgate, because that is not Comicsgate. So that's my take. That's my final word on it.
All right, Tevye, it's got to be like a minute or less.
Yeah, sorry. I'm looking at my part of the quick fact. I thought the comic movement, in my personal opinion, has just been a complete disaster. And I'm not bought a move at all. I think it's been toxic from day one. But I mean, things started good with that. It got corrupted into an even, which I don't even make a bad guy, but it's in that all this stuff. Yeah, it's a nightmare. And so I didn't avoid that stuff completely. I just put them on story and characters and story development.
Good for you, man.
I just move on with that crap. It's too much, too toxic, too insane. I just don't pay attention to it at all. That's my opinion on it.
Thank you very much. And that's going to wrap up our topics. I hope everyone enjoyed that. So now it's time to get to the best part of the show, the weekly recommendations. Tevye, first time on the show, what are you recommending to my viewers this week, buddy?
Well, I recommend, I think I recommend Avengers of the Super Sons, the 12-issue Magnet series by Tomasi. A great series, in my opinion, that people really need to read because this is great. Go read it. It's awesome. And it's a Ty Bennett with Super Sons. Another second one name, Justice League by Scott Snyder. Justice League by Scott Snyder has been an amazing book. That book has been amazing by perfection. The last arc has been amazing. I can read that book immediately. Go read it. The series has been awesome. Marvel Remains by been amazing. X-Men has been okay, but Immortal Hulk has been awesome. The Detective has been awesome. Green Lantern by Grant Morrison. You can check them out if you like Grant Morrison. But before one that book. That book is weird, confusing, and weird. Birthright, I've been reading it for the main Spawn. Get to issue 300, and I think that's about it.
Thank you very much. Also, if you're still watching this and you want to throw your recommendations into the chat, I'll read them out on live stream, and maybe people will check them out on the replay. So, for keeping on with the recommendations, Doc, what are you recommending from the back issues this week?
It's on the screen right now.
Oh, nice.
Some old Battle Chasers. Go pick them up if you can. Battle Chasers was a good story. It never quite finished. But there's also the game, and I think Joe Mad's still planning on, he promised to finish it. That is one of them. And the other is McFarlane era Spawn. McFarlane. Yeah, McFarlane era Amazing Spider-Man. Go pick it up. Go pick up anything you can from that run. All good.
Yeah, $400 for a few of them.
Yep.
Yeah, well, that plus the fact that outside of like 3 of them, I don't need them anymore because I already have them. So now I'm recommending them. I always recommend shit after I buy it. I don't recommend things before I buy it.
Can't jinx it.
Yeah.
I can screw myself by causing a run on it. I'll wait until after I bought it, and then you guys can all pay more.
Good point.
All right, so that's your recommendations, buddy?
Yep.
All right, Lance. I want to hear something weird. What weird comic do you have for us this week?
Okay. This is volume 6 of Sex from Joe Casey and Piotr Kowalski. And I'm glad to see this series continue, but it's kind of like, if you're not familiar, this is like Batman if it was more lewd and there was more, he'd retired and was trying to, in this volume, he's trying to get inside this like Skull and Bones type of organization that runs the world. And and there's a crime war brewing in Saturn City, which is the main location near Gotham type of analog. And it's the art just, I mean, I gotta read, if Kowalski does anything that comes near something that, like, sadly he's doing Bloodborne, which doesn't interest me, but like anytime he does something interesting, I'm all over it. I love this guy's art and his colors. So
Awesome.
Give it a shot if you think you'll like it.
Thank you very much. So, Bats, what do you got for our viewers this week, buddy?
I'm gonna have to go with Annual 2 Detective.
Nice.
It's a good book.
It's just, while I was reading this, I really just kept smiling and kind of laughing at the banter between Bruce and Alfred. And it just really nice. Yeah, it really shows how much Tomasi gets the character.
Yeah.
Versus Tom King. Yes, everyone hold up their copy. Right. Yeah. And then as well as this issue, I thought that Detective 1005 or 4 I really liked that origin story. It was really cool and interesting to see the Gotham villains be kind of compassionate in a riot. That was a very interesting take. And then, of course, the hype train is real. I am the conductor.
Nice.
Spawn has been fantastic. I will be forever grateful to Pele for telling me it was $3. And because that's the thing I look forward to almost every month. It used to be Project Superheroes or Project Superpowers.
Yeah.
And then I was like, man, this is a great book. But then like Spawn kind of took that place for it.
Yeah,
I agree with that. And if you want to catch a couple of great videos, go to Sergeant Bat's channel. He has some great Spawn content. And once you're done with that, come over to my channel. If you haven't watched my Spawn Road to 300 video, I think you'll like it very much.
Yeah.
So also, the artist on Detective Comics 1005 was awesome. I don't even know who he is.
Brad Walker.
Yes, that guy is great.
Yeah.
Very much enjoyed that.
He takes the audacity. He has the audacity to draw the bat lenses.
Yeah, it was cool. I like it. All right, so last but not least, Pele, what's the store recommending this week?
Oh, well, of course, Black Cat #1 was the big book of the week as far as sales were concerned and customer interest. People were really digging the covers. I kind of went a little bit nuts on the variants on that because we got the J. Scott Campbell and the
Nice
and Art Germ. I did get some from the jscottcampbell.com from his website. I ordered some of the dealer packs on those and got 10 extra packs, and all of them were gone by the end of Thursday. So, perfect. I mean, it blew them out of the shop. So yeah, and it was a good read. It was fun. The art was really, really good. It was a good comic. It was a solid comic. I'd give it a solid 3.5 out of 5, which in this day and age is actually a really good grade for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's a positive. It's a net positive. On the DC side of things, not a whole lot that really caught my interest this week. What we had on that was Deceased #2.
Awesome.
That was our DC pick of the week. Mm-hmm. So, but anyway, yeah, Black Cat. If you can find it at your local comic retailer, go ahead and pick it up. It's a fun read.
Awesome. It looked boring to me, so I didn't pick it up.
Well, there you go. You should have picked it up, buddy. All right, so in the comments section, we have Dave Ass Sandwich says in Venditti we trust. Freedom Fighters and Hawkman. Hawkman #13 with the new artist is coming out next week. Definitely suggest both of those books are great. Fiona Wolf is saying Aliens, Predators, Prometheus, AVP, The Complete Life and Death by Dan Abnett. Absolutely, I love that book. I wish I had read that when I had a channel because it definitely would have been reviewed. She also says Freedom Fighters. Tevye is saying Shazam. We forgot that one.
Yeah, for Jeff Johns.
Mm-hmm. Dominic Powell is saying Stormwatch, Before and After Warren Ellis came on the title. Gen 13, Harbinger, the original Valiant series from 1992. Wetworks with the terrific Wills Portacio, Rising Star by Michael Jasinski, and JL25. The Doctor is saying Stormwatch 37.
That's when
And,
Ellis came on.
Oh, that's my bad. And then Fiona Wolf also mentioned Guardians of the Galaxy by Donny Cates, which has been pretty good. And look out for his Silver Surfer Black. It comes out next week. It's he's going to be on the Comics Universe.
Yes.
So my recommendations this week are Incredible Hulk Last Call with Peter David and Dale Keown. It's really fun read. Really liked it. It's a one-shot. It definitely doesn't feel like the Immortal Hulk. It's got a different feel to it. The art is more reminiscent of something from the 90s, which I thought was great. Also, what is it? Batman Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2. The first book was great. I can't imagine the second book isn't amazing. Criminal Number 5 from Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips.
Ooh.
It's been a great series. If you like crime books, like, you're not going to do better than Criminal. It's the best comic noir series about crime out there. And
Nice.
I believe, looks like Doc is showing us Hulk the End. They're 20, was it 12?
Oh,
what is
no.
2002.
Yeah, it was 2002, I think.
Yeah, 2002 one shot.
And it's kind of a good
Yeah.
bookend to Hulk Last Call that Wes recommended.
Absolutely.
Never heard of it. Interesting.
You should definitely check it out. It's a lot of fun. So that'll do it for the show. Let's sign off. Thank you very much to our special guest, Tevye Smolka. He is a YouTube star in his own right. He's almost up to 1,000 subs, I believe. So if you're not subbed to his channel, go check him out. He's a great guy. He's a dear friend of the channel, and he's a friend of the pod. So Tevye, where can people check you out, buddy?
You can follow my YouTube channel, Tevye Smolka. You can follow me on Twitch. You can follow me on Google then. You can follow me on Facebook, on Twitter. I don't have Instagram. I review movies, video game, comics. I also have to do Let's Plays. Then you'll have me at the On Your Main show, and I'm happy to be here. Yep.
Yes. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been a great time, and I think we all appreciated it, and it was a good time having you on. Doc, where can people find you, buddy?
I'm on Twitter. You can find me at Science Jesus. I'm not giving you my Instagram.
Good call.
Yeah, you can find me on there, mostly spurging out about comics and occasionally talking about cars and yard work.
Yes, if you want to learn about X-Men, follow Doc on Twitter. You can ask him anything you want about the X-Men. He is a walking encyclopedia of X knowledge, and he'll give you some great places to start if you want to check up on the X-Men universe.
Absolutely.
Real Comic Stacks just jumped in with his recommendation: Symbiote Spider-Man, Life Story, Invaders. I agree with all those. Bats. Yeah. Bats, what are your recommendations? I'm sorry. Where can people find you, man? Stacks.
You can find me on Twitter at SGT Bats, as well on YouTube as SGT Bats, and I do my YouTube channel there. I've been kind of slacking. My work schedule's been a little funky, and my back's been hurting. It's just haven't put out a lot of content, but I'm kind of back on the roll. So yeah, so that's where you can find me: Twitter and YouTube.
Okay.
I guess I have an Instagram. I just got followed by Pele. You're doing big time when you get followed by Pele on Instagram. Big time. So yeah.
I follow back everybody.
also on SGT Pats on Instagram, but I never use it. I started and then I just stopped.
All right. Also, if you like old school diversity in comics content, Sergeant Bats is the best Zach Tree band on the internet. This old school feel of DNC. Go check out his videos. It's lots of fun. You'll see his thighs. He'll talk real funny, and he's a great follow and a great channel. Everyone should be following him. So Lance, where can people find you, buddy?
I'm on Twitter at RealLanceMan, and then that's about it for now. But thanks for having me, guys. Pleasure as always.
And last but not least, Pele, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at just_Pele. And Twitter tends to be a little bit more political. But if you just want the comics, just want to talk about comics, Instagram's the place to go.
Absolutely. And of course, you can follow me right here on Thinking Critical. Also on Twitter, I am at Wes_from_TC. Thank you all for joining us. It's been a great show. Thanks to all the panel guests. I think it went really well. And we'll see you next Saturday. Bye-bye.
Later.
Cowabunga.
Salam mapo.